Yes, they're cooking the ball on the ground. Kevin Thomson's on.
Super.
The main man.
Long time coming.
Must be a couple of jobs available.
I must be. It's only because I'm on the dole.
Struggling with
Well, the guy you've replaced been on the dole for 8 years, so that's alright.
By the way, I hate to start off at a negative, but I'm raging with you.
How?
Can't believe you never showed us your video with you and that horse before you put it on Twitter.
Oh my God, mate.
I did actually watch that.
I actually saw it.
Oh, disgusting.
What's he thinking?
Fuck no.
What is he thinking?
Good
Seriously?
start, Simon. Love it. That's shocking, isn't it? Wow.
Fucking hell, man. That was.
Whatever makes you happy, mate.
Oh, listen. I'm happy
Do you know
to
what I
try
mean?
things, but
That's not right, that.
Scarred me for life watching that.
That's horrible.
European correspondent's not here. Slaney's away to Madrid. Talks to Celtic and
just heard it. But
him and his dad. 3 years to get through security on it with that bag. His dad's bag.
He said he wants us to FaceTime him when we're on the show.
Oh, does he?
Pointless, isn't it?
Tonight will be as
The wee
fun
man's
as
got
it,
FOMO,
yeah.
ain't he? Hates missing out anything.
So he's going to be, you can keep track of his adventures on the Instagram page, and there'll be a full away trip vlog going up on the YouTube channel as well. You watch that, Tom?
I'll try.
Oh, you mate?
No.
How have you been since you last been on the show, mate? It's been a while.
Good, mate, aye. Good. I'm a wee bit disappointed that every time I watch you don't really big me up for jobs anymore.
I know, mate, it's because every time
I
I do
was
it,
doing
I
it for
get...
months.
Reece McCabe stole my place, aye.
You're better than him, mate. Fuck you, Reece. No, mate, do you know what it was? Every time I got like 20 Instagram messages, will you stop fucking putting your pal in for jobs?
I take it wasn't for the club.
It was for Rafe Rovers chairman, Dundee United chairman. Are you still applying or have you given up?
I've gave up, mate.
Have you?
I've
What a loss to the game, man.
Okay, nah, I've not gave up. You can't give up, mate, but that's frustrating, isn't it? What can you do?
Time will come, mate.
What can you do? You just need to keep going.
So what, you doing just academy stuff still?
Academy
flying?
media. Aye, academy's going good. It's and for me, whether we had one kid or we had 100, I would do it for my boys. So everybody knows how passionate I am about the kind of pro academies and youth for this day. So just try my best, mate.
I still tell the boys about, even with at Rangers 18s, the boys loved you, didn't they? Like the boys took a proper shine to you.
I done a 5 stars event with Boydie just on Friday there, and I see when I left, Andy, when I left the academy, see the messages that I got off the lads, like I'm talking like detailed messages, is probably still one of the fondest memories I've got of coaching. Regardless of winning, and just see like the appreciation and the like, just the humility, getting people to send you a message to say that like loved you, blah 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 blah. I know you come out and obviously watch training a few times, and obviously we got you involved, didn't we? But I just loved the boys, really loved representing the club and trying to do your best for them. But I think when people appreciate you, it's probably not the people that give you a job, but you probably want to be appreciated more off the players than you do externally, if that makes sense. Internally is more important, isn't it? So to have that appreciation was always nice.
It's mad since you just copied everything Graham Murphy done that.
I did come once he was coaching on the sheet. What's going on?
But see, the thing, like, on a serious note, Andy probably doesn't appreciate how important it was for him to come when he was obviously doing his B licence, to ask to come round in the academy. And you had Brian Gilmore's, David McCallum's, and it probably put a few coaches' noses out of joint, especially people like Mertz. I know obviously Andy doesn't get on particularly well with him, but for me as a young coach, to have Andy come and watch training and lend a hand with the players as a current first team player, it gives you extra stripes really with the young kids, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? If they see Andy's and Davos and the first team players passing you in the corridor, coming to speak to you, the manager coming to speak to you, maybe going out his way to shake your hand or whatever, it just earns you a wee bit more credential, really.
He's a good boy like that, Andy, he is.
Sometimes.
Very supportive.
That age group's doing well as well, because you look at that age group that Tomo had. Leon King, Nathan Patterson, both obviously played a lot of games now. Ross McCausland's starting to funnel in. Aaron Lyle's played games. Still, the majority of them are still there. Lowry's still there. Adam Devine.
Bailey was after he was signed in for Motherwell.
Adam Devine's played about 15 games, so
yeah.
That was a good group of them.
Would you go back in?
I would. I'm quite open to. I'm not too big for my boots to go wherever. I get a bit annoyed and a bit frustrated if somebody says, oh, you need to go in your stripes, you need to do this, you need to do that. For considering I've done the 13s, the 15s, the 18s, the B team. And listen, Kelly was a risk really for them and for me to leave. I'm not so sure many people would have left the B team role to do what I done, but I did. And I suppose like without kind of getting the violin out and bigging yourself up, to be successful makes it harder to then want to go back and start again, if you know what I mean. You want to keep moving forward, don't you? But at the same time,
Because it's usually people that make an arse of the first team jobs that go back to the academy.
normally when you make an arse, you get another job. But it seems when you
should have got relegated, Kelly, but you made them, you're right, manager.
I'm starting to think I might get another job to try and fail, so then I think
Get another better job.
That's
What
what
about your team at the weekend, Kev? How'd you get on?
I didn't actually take them at the weekend.
I don't know.
Because I wanted to watch
You were your horse, weren't you?
No, I wanted to watch my youngest one, Tom. He's up at Garda, so I thought I need to watch him. So he was. They played 4 10-minute games. I think they scored 32 goals.
Mate, he's guaranteed to get into an academy now, isn't it?
Aye.
See, as soon as you sign for Gerdic, mate, it's a guarantee.
There's a wee boy in that team, mate, called Cooper. I think he's only like 6 or 5 or 6. Oh
Dynamite.
my god, incredible.
What a way to put a bit of pressure on a 5-year-old kid.
No, I know, but I just
Cooper will be working at McDonald's when he's 15, man.
You know
see
the pressure that Slaney had growing up, man.
You'll see it in your academy when you get kids in. You just can tell straight away. They've just got that.
Can you? Can you tell straight away?
I think you can.
just
You can tell. I think you can. You just see them do things and you think, should you really be doing that? And it's no anything fancy.
The basics.
Just their brain.
It's the basics and how they're thinking. It's how they receive the ball. I think he's taking that ball in the back foot all the time at 6 years old. He's like, somebody came to tackle him and like he scooped it over his leg. I was like, he saw that happening before it happened, and I thought
that's talent for me, seeing things and how you receive it, your balance, your movement, your smoothness, rather than, I know Kev's a big lad, like, but the lad that's I think talent is different for effectiveness, and effectiveness eventually runs out, if you know what I mean. I think you need to have talent to then back up effectiveness. Well, it's been a bit complicated, but
No,
that's a good point when you think about that. When you actually think about that, actually what you've just said, because people listen to that and think, what does he mean by that? But see, when you think about it, that's a good, it's a good way of describing it.
Your boys in at Hibs, isn't he? Mate, I've heard he's doing really well.
They're
I'm
all
not
right,
just saying
mate.
this because you're here.
Nah, they're all right.
He was telling us actually.
They're all right.
Saying your boys doing really well. What kind of dad are you?
Hard.
I knew it. I could have told you that.
Hard. But what does hard mean? I'm no hard on. I couldn't care if
Stop
they make
smacking them.
mistakes. I couldn't two foot them in the garden. I couldn't care if they make mistakes. I couldn't care if they give the ball away. Decision making, blah blah blah. But I really care if they didn't try their best. Hard work for me is paramount if you want to get better at something. But it's the one demand that I think is no given, because it's a stupid way to look at it. But being a hard worker is hard work. It's easy to be lazy and easy just to get by in it, but to actually have the bit between your teeth and graft is. But I have to say, the pair of them, my youngest one's a wee bull, so he can be quite effective.
Yep.
And he needs to get better at probably like seeing things a bit quicker or whatever. Listen, he's 11. But my oldest is probably the opposite. He's really fit, my oldest, but he's got a lovely picture, a great idea of how to play, if you know what I mean. But he's also too fit too, but like I said, a fag packet, so he's going to need to work things out quicker than other people, because physicality for him at the moment is a struggle, if you know what I mean. So when the game becomes a bit scrappy, he struggles. But listen, they've both got a wee dream, the same as we had, and you just try and support them, don't you?
So both in at Hibs?
Both in it at Hibs.
Brilliant.
I don't
What
know
age are you
about
up
that,
to,
like,
Kev? 11 and what?
11 and 13.
That's good ages, isn't it?
Yeah.
They're wee
That must be
buggers,
a
like.
boy's going to watch him.
I do. I watched Jackson Sunday morning. He was hopeless, but
Stand with your gun at the side of the pitch.
I went there on Sunday night.
Are you still shooting at it?
I still shooting.
You find it hard to watch them, Kev? I've always had this conversation with the boys a few times, and it's good to get somebody else in with other kids in at academies. It's hard to.
I think the biggest thing when they come on my pitch, I'm the boss and I get to decide how I see their standard. But I think the biggest thing when you give, it might be the wrong terminology, when you give your kids to another academy and it's has to be Gareth Evans on Sunday, and it's their responsibility to coach them, to get them to work hard, to get them to run about. If I wanted to, probably sounds a bit obsessed, which I know the reason why they're there is, if you want to do it yourself, then you'd need to take them yourself.
Aye.
Do you know what I mean? So I think as a parent, you need to. I stand myself. I didn't get involved. I never speak to the club. I've got no entitlement as a parent, really. Mm-hmm. And I tell the boys that it should be the same. You need to earn your stripes, really. You need to earn your coin, really. Playing up, game time, all these things that is a normal conversation within people in academies. I say to the boys, be humble, be respectful, listen to your coaches, and try your best.
I know.
I
sat and watched. I watched my Danny was playing yesterday for Celtic under 10s and the goals, and fucking arrived up in the first one. He's passed it straight to the centre forward. The centre forward shot for 20 yards. He just went. It's the standard catch. Drops it in, and you're like, oh my god, here we go again.
He'll be a goalie though.
He'll be released next week, won't he?
Then like 10 minutes later,
Makes a world of.
goes out wide, it crosses in, he's gone that way, the boy's shot that way, and he's quickly reacted and tipped around the post, and you're like, how can I get annoyed at that when you then go and do that?
He's that age.
I know, but that's what I'm why I asked the question is, like, sometimes you really, really go back to the fact that he's 9 years old. Like, you don't become a footballer at 9, you learn.
You're saying, he's saying he's not obsessed, but it's a bit, you get John Collins to check their body fat once a week.
Did you see his reaction to the Hibs Aberdeen game at the weekend? Wow, we need to actually get that full paragraph
What
up.
did he
He's
say?
raging.
Is he?
Please get it up, Pence, and read it out.
Is it with the body fats he's raging?
No, he was raging at how he felt Hibs were brilliant, Aberdeen were basically a gang and won the game.
Right.
And he's very strenuous about it, so we'll get the quote off of Pence.
Just talking about food quickly, I just seen you doing a couple of... Is Tom Kitchen's boy playing your boy's team?
So Tom's boys come to the academy.
What's his name? Axel?
So he's got a few. So he's got Lachlan, Logan are the twins. Then he's got Axel, who plays with my oldest, Jackson, and then he's got Casper, who's a Hibs under 16. So he's got 2 boys at Hibs Academy and then 2 are at Spartans.
Wow. Have you been at his restaurant for food?
He's a great lad.
Mate, it's incredible, but I had a meeting with my fucking bank manager and a debt company after it, man. Mate, she's gonna book you. I was like, what the
Listen,
fuck?
you pay for quality.
I bet it's amazing food.
Yeah, he's top. Listen, he looks after us. He's become a good friend, and he's me and Scotty are there on.
I seen that, that's why I brought it up. So what, he's doing a Q&A?
Just a Q&A, aye.
Brilliant.
So I'd went to the Graham Souness one maybe 6-8 weeks back. It's more intimate, if you know what I mean. It's not like a big rammy as such. And Tom does it really well, and he makes the menu off the back of your career. So me and Scotty obviously had a wee meeting with him, and I'll not tell you the menu until it suits.
What would my menu be? Be like packet of crisps for starter?
By the way, he'd make that packet of crisps taste great.
Amazing.
Sunday dinner. You do a Sunday dinner as a main. You like a Sunday dinner, didn't you?
What would the main be?
You do a Sunday dinner.
No, it'd be like a tin of spam or something, wouldn't it? If it was based on my career.
Spam on Saturdays.
Spam and
They have a good traditional English bolognese for you, big man.
Traditional British bolognese.
Oh man.
Just quickly before we go into football, dream starter, main and dessert, what is it?
Dream start and what?
You get a
Starter,
dream
main,
starter or a
dessert.
dream
Your
meal?
last meal.
Your last meal.
Starter.
Venison for you, innit?
Nah, no venison, mate. No.
say fish.
Eat what you should.
That's on the spot. Starter. I quite like prawny type, scallop type thing.
Oh, that's me, scallops.
Maybe scallop.
Crab
Scallops for
scallops.
Tom's anyway. Main would be I love a fillet like bit of beef.
Oh, mate, you're doing my route now.
That's my
Dessert's a big one.
If I went-
How
if
you
I
getting
went-
that cooked?
If I went, as long as there's no any blood in it,
So medium.
Ah, right,
Medium.
for a wee feature.
which Tom gives me the horrible stare as a top chef when I tell him no blood to the devil.
You're killing it.
He actually gave me some of that Wagyu beef, maybe, I don't know, 6-8 weeks back. I picked it up at Cora, one of his restaurants, and I was too embarrassed to send him a picture because I cremated it. I was too embarrassed there. He gave me like the nicest bit of beef ever. It was honestly, it was unbelievable.
Have you ever shot and gave him the meat for his restaurant? Is
No,
that it?
I've actually gave him some Sika before, aye.
Right.
But listen, I'm throwing a pan and throwing a plate. He's
He's doing all sorts of it.
He's got it in the fridge for 2 years.
And then what's your side of that? Steak and chips?
I love a wee bit of peppercorn sauce with it, etc. But you didn't get that when you go to obviously kind of the top restaurants.
Yeah, yeah.
But he'd be embarrassed me eating peppercorn sauce for Tesco's. But that probably, but aye, a bit of chips or some tatties or whatever.
Tender stem broccoli?
I like a wee bit of rice with my steak, to be fair.
Rice?
Aye, I like a wee bit of rice. Aye.
Oh, that's left field.
I like a wee bit of rice.
What, like who's rice?
Uncle
Is that
Ben.
no-
Like basmati?
Is that not just a
Just a wee bit of
stroganoff?
rice. Just a wee bit of
Uncle
rice.
Ben.
aye.
That's
2
a
minutes.
stroganoff he's talking about there.
Just like a wee bit of rice. Aye.
And
What's
then
the
dessert?
dessert? You've had a strong start here.
Dessert. Listen, anything chocolate really. I love.
A Mars.
I've got a right sweet.
Mars bar.
Mars bar and that. That's Slaney's.
And then you get a drink to, what would it be? A nice red
A
wine?
wee glass of red wine, mate. Aye.
That's
Have you got a favourite
it's
bottle just now to
meal, that.
recommend for people?
Nah, not really, mate.
You got a Lidl for your wine?
What he means by that is I recommend one for him.
I
He's
like
5 bucks a
a
week.
wee shatting off the pap.
Oh, lovely, mate.
Like a wee shatting off.
17 quid.
Bit
It's doing
expensive,
15
though,
in
innit?
Lidl though,
Bit
mate.
expensive, mate.
Lidl,
I tried the little jammy shed instead of the
Jam shed?
I know the jam shed, but see the little version. It's called jammy shed. It's decent. It's
That's
decent.
why, that's why I'm here,
It's
so I can
actually
afford a
decent.
better bottle.
Aye.
What is
I
it?
said, that's why I'm here, so I can afford a better bottle.
Quite right, mate.
I'm obsessed with red wine just now, mate.
Nah, I'm not obsessed.
Her
but I like a wee
mum's
glass.
a red wine drinker, and she knows a good red wine or two.
My mum does.
In fact, she's got one for Christmas she made last year. I thought what she'd brought in last year was amazing, so I'll get the name up for you.
Right, get us it, mate.
Really good. But you need to buy it in one of those like subscription type things.
Oh, right, and you
So
can
when you get like 24
send it
bottles
out
or
a bottle.
something, aye.
Do you know what I had at the weekend? It was amazing. He's had it at Guinness in a can with coffee in it.
No, but I've had
Guinness
Guinness
and
with
coffee.
Guinness
Where'd you
with
buy that from?
Black Cunt.
The black cunt's nice as well. Where do I buy it? Asda, mate.
How's that do?
Try it. Amazing.
Is it-
Think
is
Tom Kitchen would get us a meal. The boys.
I'm sure he would, mate.
Me and Tomo's big mate. Jonathan Woodgate used to drink mad alcohol. So he used to have red wine, half glass of red wine, half glass of Coke. He would have...
That's like a Tinto Verano, isn't it?
He would have... What was the other thing?
Oh, because he was in Madrid, mate. That's what they drink in Spain.
He introduced me to that slow gin and lemonade. You ever tried that?
Slow gin. I used to make slow gin.
Mate.
Slow gin straight, make it lovely, beautiful.
Did you not take...
We were having that in Manchester on a night out, wasn't it? I was at Liverpool.
Aye. Did you not take Woody shooting?
Nah, no, we do not. Basie and Macca.
What did Woody say about Madrid? Love it.
Loved it.
That's amazing, isn't it?
But he's obsessed. He was obsessed with his accent, wasn't he? He was obsessed with you, mate.
Why?
He fucking loved it.
Because we were both, his words, Paggard, injured all the time.
Right.
For our terminology, we spent a lot of time in the treatment room. To be fair, I was probably worse off than him. But I was fascinated with him, just obviously picking his brain for stuff like Madrid. They got paid every 6 months.
Aye, 6 months, every 6 months.
What?
Real Madrid, aye.
Imagine
No way.
You going to deal with that, would you say?
Didn't he get paid every month, mate? Every 6 months.
6 months, I couldn't get my head around it. Obviously.
So you just get an absolute whack.
Just get a whack.
You get about 6 mil in January.
So, but see, when you first go, you didn't get paid for 6 months.
No,
I don't know.
they get
You get paid.
You get, like, I don't know, is that a sign on fee or something like that at the start? So that's you for your 6 months, and then that 6 months.
Why do you think they do that?
God knows it.
For tax or something?
Probably, aye. Presidents, maybe, aye.
That's incredible, isn't it?
It's quite strange.
What do you think he was on at Madrid?
Oh, God knows. I bet he over 100 euro a week, like 100,000 euro a week, I would imagine.
Is he a great guy?
Aye, he was top man.
Humble as anything as well,
Is he?
mate.
We
Considering the level
interviewed him,
he's
he was
played
good
at.
actually.
Aye, great lad.
You
Like,
play against him, kid?
Aye.
top player.
He was good, wasn't he?
When did I think I
Leeds.
played against him, maybe he might have been reserves in a comeback or something when I played back in there. But I do remember, I think he played, was he Leeds Youth or was he Middlesbrough Youth?
Leeds.
Leeds Youth. He was in the team with Hart,
That's right.
Smith,
Aye,
Gary
Dubbery,
Kelly,
McPhail.
McPhail.
Maybe would have been
Maybury,
in that.
Maybury,
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe would have been in that.
Mabes, that was so they were a year older than me, so he'll be 43, I would think, Woodgate, 43, 44.
Because he always says the boy McPhail was...
Oh, Stephen McPhail was unbelievable. And I had the boy,
It's a bit like you, McPhail, left footer. Centre
who
mid.
else they had? They had the boy from Westlife in there at the same time.
Nicky Byrne.
Nicky Byrne.
Louis Walsh. Louis Walsh was in a bit there. The
Tell
dressing
you who
room.
else was in? Big Alex Keddy was in the same time.
Who?
Big Alex Keddy. I'm sure he
Oh,
was
Big
in.
Keddy, right?
He was in at Leeds at that time.
Brilliant. Right, we're going to come back to Middlesbrough in a bit, but we're on
Back
to
at Borough, would he, isn't he?
Aye.
what is part of the coaching staff?
Part of Carrick's staff, aye.
Is he? That's a good combo, innit? Carrick and Woodgate. If you're a
combo,
player,
aye.
you're all over it.
Good combo.
He's seen off a few managers though, Big Woody. He's been with a few of them, to be fair.
Has he been a manager?
Aye, he was
manager,
Middlesbrough
what?
for about, what was it, 6 months or something like that?
He's nearly seen off as many as Craig Sampson. Fucking goalie coach.
Right, talking about Aberdeen Hibs. Do you go along with John Collins' what about this word? Prognosis? Is that the right word?
No, it's...
Great word, that mate.
Great word, that.
Get me on fucking sports scene, man. Do you go along with John?
Petsy sent me the quote. He's not happy, Big John.
Right, get the quote up. Let's
Right.
read that. But while he's doing that, Tomo, ex-Hibby, what do you think of the game? Did Hibs deserve to win?
I think Aberdeen were robust, and I think it's stupid because 10 men sometimes makes it harder, but definitely an opportunity missed. I think Montgomery will do well at the high B's. He's inherited somebody else's players,
I agree, mate.
which is difficult, but at the same time, we all know we're no naive, it's cutthroat in it, so especially at the big clubs you become under scrutiny quite quickly, so he probably needs to start big games coming up. I think there's St Mirren through the week and then Motherwell, Kelly, next 2 games, which obviously both teams are going quite well, so...
Will he get a chance to get rid of players in January, Tom, and get his own in, Jank? If Hibs got the sort of money to do that?
Well, they've
I
got
know the
to do that.
budget's the biggest it's ever been like, but at the same time, how do you get rid of players?
Yeah, you've got deals.
And it's
2-3
tough,
years.
and they've obviously, Lee Johnson signed boys on 3-year deals. They've still got boys for the previous regime as well, so I suppose it's not as easy as that. I don't know if maybe there's some of the older generation, I'm saying older, they're obviously good mates of mine. Your Louis, your Pauls might not be on his longer term deals. I know Marsh will potentially be up in the summer as well, so there might be scope to manipulate wages here or there, but I'd imagine what he's got, he's going to need to get the best out, because at teams like Hibs, Hearts, Aberdeens and that, unless loads of boys are out of contract, you cannot change the squad that much.
Yeah. I only watched the highlights, but they do look exciting, Hibs.
They won in the first half.
Well, they know, mate, nah.
The first
I'm only
half
going on
was-
the highlights.
No, but they were the better team comfortably, but the first half was a poor game.
Was it?
I can't believe how direct Aberdeen have become. I'm not saying it's the wrong thing because they went through 1-0, fair enough, but there was no, unless it was a semi-final, is it one of them where it was just cagey, but there was no composure for either team in the first half, no quality, and then the second half, all the quality, all the composure came for Hibs. So then Aberdeen then breaking up the pitch and scoring came for completely left field. Me and Slaney were watching it in here, and at that point in time you only thought there was one winner.
And what was Hibs? It was quite a lot. It was doing the sides for Boyle, wasn't it?
You can see the first half. The first half they played Boyle up front with Venti, and for me, what it looked like was anytime they won it back, whether it was Joe New or Levitt, spin it in behind for Boyle to go into. 2 or 3 times it worked, but for the most part, they were just keeping possession up. Yeah. And then second half, like I said, bit more composure, much more quality, created a good few chances. Obviously, they had the goal disallowed, the penalty shout, and then, like we said, you thought there was only one winner, especially when Aberdeen went down to 10 men. But I don't know, it's that funny one in football. Aberdeen were miles better when they went down to 10 men. And I don't know, was their game plan then, right, we're now sitting in and we're trying to hit them in the counter-attack? Because they then have their 2-3 best chances of the game when they were 10 men.
Well, most of their best performances this season have been sitting in Europe and that, sitting in and hitting on the counter-attack.
Rangers game away,
yeah. What do you think the Boyle incident, Kev, the offside?
It's offside, obviously, but it's I don't know. I just always think when you've got Martin Boyle and the pace he has, you have to fabricate. What's the word I'm looking for? You have to manipulate situations to enhance his opportunity of getting in behind. And sometimes I don't think Hibs do it enough, because he is rapid, and see that touch from out the sky and bringing it down and
see that one though, Kev, that's a pass.
I know.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they've actually constructed design where there's a pass to play him in behind. It's not just you win the ball back, you flip it into the channel and expect him to go and get the ball and beat 3 men. Do you know what I mean?
It's mad.
It's a good pass for you.
It was a bit like Aberdeen being direct. Like, there's not many young carrot managers who come into the game that be like that. They all want to try and have this identity of a passing team out from the back.
They say they do.
I know they all say they do. I'm still yet to see it with some teams that I've went and watched this year. You're thinking, this passing team, and you're like, I still can't see them making a pass. But I always believe that if you can play to what you think is your strengths, it will ultimately get you results to get you where you want to be going. Then what's wrong with that? But it's not pretty to watch sometimes.
Martin Boyle brought that ball down, because at Dundee that ball would have been off his face, mate, wasn't it? That's why he's got a chipped tooth to try to control the ball. But mate, people didn't know this. You're a massive part of him going to Hibs, remember?
Yeah,
he didn't want to go, did he?
Yeah, I know. I still remember saying, Tomo, can I get a bit of advice, when I was stood in the shower, and I was thinking,
and was it that you went like, how do I get that? How do I get to that side?
I was like, he put me on the spot, and he said, I've maybe got a wee squeak to go to the Hibs, and I was like, washed the shampoo off my face, and I just looked at him and said, go. And I was like, brilliant club, like, and he obviously, you know better than anyone, he wasn't really playing at Dundee, was he? He was kind of.
I was sitting next to him every week on the bench.
He was probably in and out a wee bit, but same again as what Kev said, he listed in pace and really effective, and he's really kicked on, isn't he? But I used to do my head in when I was at Dundee, and I used to receive the ball and I just wanted to flick it in that wee space for him to run, and he'd then come to the ball, but nah, great lad. And
he was a great
been
boy,
there, man, for the last couple of years, isn't he?
So do you think over the years of Boyle, from like you're talking about there, like Ian Diddy, he's understood how to use his, I think he has better, and the more mature he's got?
It's definitely got better, hasn't he?
Yeah, 100%.
I was actually gutted to see him go, because he was, who was the other lad that we had at Dundee that was a fast boy? Roberts, was it?
Phil Roberts, he was funny as hell.
And obviously speed when you're a team that we didn't dominate games all the time, so when you like maybe went to the tougher venues, that speed coming off the bench, or just help people like myself anyway. I know Si always banters me that I used to come off after 60 minutes and come on and have a shiter, but you never. But
no,
anyway,
I did.
A boilie and that used to help me.
Imagine he's ran the show for 60 minutes, you're fat as fuck, you're never near where you should be. Right, go on and just do what Tom was just done. I'm like, mate, you fucking kidding on. He'd be like 2 up, he'd come off and get me 3-2. I remember I came on for a bunch or 2 up and get me 3-2.
I probably could have played for another 10 years if it wasn't for having to play any longer than 60 minutes.
60 minutes,
Games were just 30 minutes, like the school football, 30 minutes each way, I'd be alright.
I'd be a superstar, mate. But so where'd you prefer, Boyle, up front or off the right? Did he stay up front the full game?
I think it depends what's the game? Is it a Livingston at home? Is it a Scottish Cup semi-final?
I think you look at the opposition. Who you up against? Like, who's sitting here at left back? Who's playing? Who's the 2 centre forwards? Where do we think Martin Boyle is going to be more effective? Because obviously he can do both the roles, I think, very well. But again, it's a personnel. Have you got to put him against a left back who's equally as fast? Well, you probably think, no, we'll move him somewhere else. But I don't know where his best position is. I quite like him on the right, but I would say that biasly, because I think as a centre forward, if he's getting down the wing, looking put crosses in the box, I would love that. But again, if he played up front in a team I played, are we going to go there, come short, let him go? There's all these options. But listen, he's had a fantastic career.
Read out John's quote.
Oh, aye.
Right, so I don't think Nick Montgomery can ask more from his players. He set them up to build from the back, play good football and create chances. Ultimately, you have to put it in the back of the net, and that final bit let themselves down. Hibs were by far the better team, and I mean by far. Aberdeen were maybe not hopeless, but very, very, very poor. They'll never play as badly and win a semi-final in the club's history ever again. Hibs were superior in every department.
He was like that when he was typing that, wasn't he?
Oh man.
So how did they allow themselves to be hit on the counter-attack? Did it overcommit?
Say that again, sorry?
How did they allow themselves to be hit? So, because it was quite often they got hit on the counter-attack with 10 men, wasn't it?
So open, like.
I was talking to Pence before the show. Before they send up, Hibs were very, very dominant. But you know, as soon as Aberdeen go down to 10 men, Hibs' priority should have just been how they were set up off the ball, because they knew they had them camped in for the remainder of the game.
Yeah.
But when you watch it back, how open they are when they actually lose the ball and Graham Shinnie picks it up. It only takes one pass and Miovski's got a one-on-one with a goal at the halfway line.
So it's
that's when we that's when we then talk about when they went to Ibrox 2 weeks ago, where they actually did play some nice stuff. I don't know if you were doing the game. They had a bit of control in the first half, but out of possession, I thought they were so open.
So what are they doing when they're attacking? Are full-backs going high? Is midfielders going...
It's a turnover of the ball, so yeah, everything down the sides of them,
Yeah.
And obviously, like, the goal comes through, in my opinion, like, Dylan Levitt being back the pitch and not being the most mobile. Do you know what I mean? So, like, normally when you have one or two at the back, don't you? You have people that you know that you're not going to get hit in the counter, because the worst case scenario, they can run alongside them. I know there was a wee thought he maybe being a foul, wasn't there?
It's never a foul.
It's not a foul. It's not a foul. No, it's weak.
He goes down too soft, doesn't he? But anyway, as soon as it goes down the side, nobody's getting back really. And without sounding disrespectful to the Aberdeen boys, it's not like they've got Boyle, it's blistering pace and they've got him behind. So I think speaking to some of the boys or whatever, when I'm down at the academy, it's probably that good control. But then when you do turn the ball over, it's catch-22, innit? You want to play expansive football and you want to build. You then have to really coach the bit that, like, when it turns over, where's the initial reaction? That's why I see my teams moving forward, playing closer together.
So that when you lose it, everyone's close to winning it back. Yeah.
That's Michael Beale, that, mate.
But no so much like overcomplicated, Andy. I just like, you play closer together. Like, everybody knows I want to pass it, but you play closer together, depending on what level you have. I can guarantee you'll have more bodies around the ball and be better set when you lose it. Do you know what I mean? So then it's the same as playing. You're just playing in tighter areas, but I would say, like, playing in tighter areas is tougher, but you could argue the passes are shorter. Do you know what I mean?
But the reason I'm saying that is big what Michael Beale was on, with the narrow front three and the narrow midfield three. And people used to say all the time, I can't see what he's trying to do. I was like, well, that's what he's trying to do.
But see, the difference is, Andy, is like, I would say, is like, there's a difference between being patient and trying to score a goal. And I think when you play narrow and you play patient, it then allows opposition to get close to you and get tight. If you play narrow and you play tight and you play fast and you actually play forward, i.e. into the final third, I think you're in a good position to then win the ball back when it comes back out. Whereas when you're expansive and the ball comes back out, the likelihood is if teams are compact and compressed, they get the second balls.
By Leverkusen,
do you know what I mean?
They're very similar to that, and they all play close together.
See what you're saying about Levitt and Newell. Like, on paper, Levitt's a great signing, but to play in a 4-4-2, has Newell and Levitt got the legs to play in a 2?
Well, that's what you've got. That's what he's just saying, describing it when they're attacking, they're never getting back into cover.
It was like two lorries trying to overtake each other, wasn't it? Levitt and Miovski.
It's like a 60 mile an hour lorry trying to overtake a 60 mile an hour up the hill. It just doesn't happen.
I think the boy Jago was a bit of a miss, wasn't he?
But he was brought in because he has legs in it.
He does that. You think he, like Gogic, prior to that, being that kind of like, maybe never done so well at the Hibs, but obviously doing a good job for St Mirren, done a good job for Hamilton. That type of destroyer, really, which is sometimes not a fan favourite, but I think it does help. But then, would Jago be great with Joe Newell or a Dylan Levitt? Like, would they be better as a 3?
3 probably.
There's no doubt that they're brought. I love Joe Newell. I think he's a top football player, but to complement him, he needs the right people to play alongside him. And Dylan's the same. Like, lovely football player. I've watched him at Ibrox, like, boss the game and look after it. He's got a brilliant picture, but then I see his limitations when the ball turns over to try and track back and do the bits that obviously is just not accustomed for him doing. But when it comes to being a Hibs type player, looking after the ball, you think like Scotty Allen's and that nice flair and smoothness, be able to see a pass. Scotty might think I'm doing a disservice, but I mean that in the highest kind of accolade, really. Like, lovely football players with a brilliant picture, but they then need people to compensate maybe their limitations when it comes to without the ball.
Yeah.
Aberdeen, been a bit of an up and down season, isn't it? But
well, a few weeks ago they were on a really bad run, and then obviously they've managed to get themselves to a final. So how do you argue with that situation in any like league form and stuff? The league is in standing now where a lot of teams are on similar points, 11, 12, 13, 14. Hearts were sitting 4th or something with 14 points or something like that, and I'm thinking like a couple of wins you'll put yourself above and beyond that looks a lot more rosier. But in Europe, performances have definitely picked up. Probably unfortunate not to get something the other week when they were 2-0 up, was that right? Was it 2-0 up and they got beat 3-2?
Yeah.
So unfortunately get something there. And then to get to a final, get to any League Cup final, that's Derek McInnes days, where Aberdeen were always getting to a semi or to a final. So they're in there now, and it's a one-off game against Rangers, who obviously they're finding their feet under a new manager. So Aberdeen fans will be quite, I would imagine.
I think the thing is as well with Aberdeen, we're talking about like they're maybe no the prettiest Aberdeen team you've ever watched, but at this stage of the season they're top 6 in a cup final still in Europe. So
see on that,
you mean that in every sense of the way the manager looks as well.
See when you say about like, so see if we revert back to like Derek McInnes days when they eventually they wanted change in terms of how they were playing, because it was like no turgid to watch, but they weren't impressed.
Well, the fact of the matter is that's why they said they get rid of Derek McInnes.
So if Barry Robson keeps playing this style of football, is Aberdeen fans just going to accept it, or are they going to go the same way? To
be fair to them, most of their worst performances have been after Europe this year, haven't they?
Aye.
And I think that's a tough thing for Robbo and the Aberdeen boys, and it's like, I know Aberdeen and your Hibs, your Hearts, they want to play in Europe all the time, but it's tough.
Yeah.
Because you've not got the budget to recruit players that can go and play 3 games a week. Do you know what I mean? So you then probably stretch your squad a wee bit with a wee bit less quality. And I do think everybody wants to be in Europe, but the detrimental effect of that is that like sometimes the game needs to look a wee bit different. And I seen Robbo talking about, we wanted to get after Hibs. I'm not so sure that's how they play, but that energy, listen, I've been there. You know, I know how difficult it is after like a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night Champions League game, the high, the expectation, the drainage, and then you have to potentially go and pick yourself up to go to wherever.
Were you always quite poor after the European games, Tom?
Nah, I think we had a mentality within the squad side that we were successful really, so we managed to grind out results, but it wasn't pretty at times. And it was tough.
And that's with top players, mate.
And by the way, games that were really unenjoyable to play in, do you know what I mean? Maybe going to McDermott Park, sticky, dry pitch, do you know what I mean? Maybe an early kick-off, 12:30, so another night in the hotel, another eating chicken at pasta at 9:30 in the morning. Trying to motivate yourself, do you know what I mean? To get up for it and warming up, having that. Well, listen, we've all been there, warming up, feeling like a bag of shite. And then knowing that like St Johnson want to steal your jersey off you, and it's going to be 100 mile per hour, the ball's going to be in there, you're going to have people like Murray Davison elbowing you in the face, and Chris Miller ratting around your feet, do you know what I mean? Like difficult, do you know what I mean? So how do you then find a way of winning? Do you know what I mean? And I would say that surpasses tactical stuff, how it looks. Do you know what I mean? It's just about winning the game. Do you know what I mean? And moving on to the next.
Great wee insight that.
It's because Aberdeen are going through that period of midweek, and I think Barry said in one of his press conferences about look at our fixture schedule. We're not getting helped.
Yeah.
Which is a fair point, but sometimes when the governing bodies put out the fixtures and stuff, I would imagine it's quite hard to accommodate teams that are in Europe. But could we do a wee bit more?
Is that right? They're going to play on the Thursday night before the cup.
Before the cup, but so Rangers. So Rangers.
I
know it makes for a terrible game, doesn't it?
Well, I think Rangers are away to Betis on the Thursday, and I think is Aberdeen
might be at home.
So both teams are kind of the same, but it's not great, but it's
probably the worst performance. The last thing you want as well is away to Killie after a Thursday night, innit, on the Astro. And
listen,
that was probably their worst performance so far, wasn't it? That was a hard watch.
They were brilliant against Motherwell.
That's what I mean. What was that? A week later against Motherwell, they were excellent.
And I think that's for us anyway, for I suppose the media or the fans, is like judging the teams off the back of these games and how much energy it takes and how much it saps and travelling, etc., etc. But listen, that's what the job is really. And it's the same for the players. If you want to represent the big clubs and you want opportunity to play in Europe, then you need to find ways of being able to handle that. But I know it's not easy.
You both played with him at Middlesbrough. What was he like? Moniest guy ever, isn't he?
He likes him on Robbo. He's a great lad, like, to be fair. Tough, hard day, wasn't he?
Good trainer, wasn't he? Train 100 mile an hour.
No,
I don't think
so.
That.
Rubbish trainer.
Was he?
Rubbish trainer, eh?
Rubbish
trainer.
I was actually just about to say that,
rubbish trainer.
especially in the games.
Just wanted to get by in training.
He was a much better player than I thought. Like, as a young boy in Scotland, watched him at Dundee United. I always thought he was a good player, don't get me wrong. But when I went to Middlesbrough, he was a really good player.
A very good player. Hardy, like tough, proper.
Uses his body really, really well. Do you know who he reminds me a wee bit? I don't know if you would agree. John McGinn. I think they've got similar.
John's
similar
Like to
style.
wrestle
Aye,
and,
but like use their body really well.
John's always
spin
a
out
bit
of
more
pressure.
mobile, as in like dynamically running, but powerful. Like I used to elbow me in the face all the time when I played for Hibs and he was at Dundee United before we obviously moved to Old Firm. I used to elbow you in the face. And he had quite a few red cards even when he was at Dundee. He had that red streak in him, didn't he?
Aye, but do you know who he used to have running battles with every day? Big Mick. Him and Big Mick.
What would discuss each other?
No, just at each other all the
Arguing,
time. Aye.
Strachan used to put them in their box though.
Did he?
Oh, he was ruthless with them, Strachan. Like
What would he say to them?
Aye.
he just
So like, see, if Big Mick would know he loved that sort of diag. If you did a diag, he'll be like, pass it at my feet. But then Strachan would be one of them when he stopped it, say, I'm signing midfield players, so you sent half ski to the midfield players. Like, as they're mid-arguing about it, do you know what I mean? So then Mick would be like, fuck, shut up.
Right, I'm sure they had an argument at half time one time, and he said something along the lines of like, I brought you pair down here to be men and no bicker, like we girls type thing, do you know what I mean? And being like, just being rude really to them, like that's what Strachan was. He had that terminology where he could feel 10 foot tall and all of a sudden, like, remember Batesy when he used to have coffee?
Ah, brilliant.
What was that?
So Batesy used to always have a coffee like before the game and half time, and it used to get under Gordon's wick, didn't it?
Did they know he used to bring his own like coffee though? Like his own coffee beans, you know what I mean? He used to hate it.
Even when he like Nicky Bailey had a go at him, remember when Nicky Bailey had a go at Gordon, he was like, had far bigger players than you had.
I'm saying against Nicky Bailey. Be heavy guy with ginger hair.
One of the ones where as Bales just had to go back, there's that 5 second silence and Strachan's looking a bit like that.
But he's obviously not a big lad, Gordon, and Nicky would fight anyone.
He was like a proper London boy, wasn't he?
But great, good times, like. But
we asked this on the Cooping Show. I was going to ask you, have you ever been at a club where somebody's changed the captaincy while you were there?
No.
Strachan no did that at Middlesbrough? I thought you would have maybe had that.
I was the captain of command, but I asked to relieve my duties of it.
Why?
I just, I didn't understand the role of a captain. I just thought, like, the reason I got the captaincy was because of how I was around the players, around the dressing room, and kind of led by example in the park. But then when I got given the captain's armband, I think I thought I was bigger than that.
Oh, you try to be somebody else?
No, I thought I was a wee bit, how I spoke to some people maybe sometimes. Connor Salmon get a horrible time off of me sometimes, and James Fowler, he was the captain, and I used to think, will you fucking shut up and don't even speak to me? So I thought I was a wee bit disrespectful, so I said, look Jim, could I just take this off and get on with just being the number 9 up front? And he says, that's fine, so I took it off, but I've never seen where a captain's obviously changed hands midway through a season, and for whatever reason, if it's maybe like a performance related thing, I don't know, but
yes,
I can't imagine that being great.
I got the captain's armband taken off me by John Collins.
Did you?
Oh, so he did that.
So wait, how did that convo go? Did he just bring you in his office?
Just like a lead balloon, I just told me that my eye wasn't on the ball and he thought my performance levels had dropped, so he gave it to Rob Jones.
Rob Jones, mind him,
Rob Jones, centre half scored goals, didn't he?
And to be fair, Jono was brilliant. And to be honest, I was quite happy that I didn't need to hand out the tickets and I couldn't.
Were you devastated at all?
I was gutted, It was. When I think back to like some of the disappointments, minus injuries and losing cup finals, or just like retiring, or like stuff that doesn't go your way, I suppose. Like that would be one of my proudest days. I still remember Tony Mowbray giving me the captaincy, and then.
So were you made club captain under Tony Mowbray?
I was club captain.
How did that go? But
amazing.
Again, just pull you in your office.
No.
Did he go like that? I'm going to make you club captain.
like that one.
Through the line.
Like that one. I used to do that to a few players. But we were training one day and we were doing. I can't even mind where we were. And Dougie Fowler, you don't know who that was, but he was like the fitness coach, old grey-haired guy, brilliant guy. Deeks used to call him Shugles, old Shugles. He used to take our warm-ups and that. He was Rod Peterie's friend, so he come in to help the kind of fitness side and do the warm-ups. And I spent a bit of time with him and built up a good relationship because obviously I hurt my knee. And he come to me and he used to call me the Prince of Peebles. Peebles boy, that was his, there's the Prince of Peebles, morning Prince of Peebles. And he come up to me and I was just stretching after training and he was like, didn't he say anything? He says, you're going to be made club captain today. And then within maybe half hour, he'd like finishing training, Tony had pulled me in to say that I want you to be the front of everything and blah, blah, blah. And I think it's a perfect role for you, perfect leader, blah, blah, blah. So it was a proud day, and then not so proud day when he took it off me.
I really liked Mowbray.
He's top drawer.
I thought Mowbray was really good, mate. I don't know if you had different opinions at Celtic, but I thought
he never took any training. We were expecting him to come and take everything, mate.
well, I thought it was his training that I thought was the best part about him. See, but I thought his training was really good, mate.
He still took a bit of training at Middlesbrough.
That's what I mean. I thought his training was really good at Middlesbrough.
That was after Celtic Middlesbrough, wasn't it?
After.
So maybe he thought I need to go back to
you learn,
doing
don't
it.
you?
Yeah.
He obviously passed a lot of responsibility on to Vino and Mark Proctor, but a lot of it was driven by him, and it was like the one terminology that he used to always say: never get bored of passing the ball, because he passed it every day. Like repetition, passing drills, like wee daft rotations, and
he loved like way to pass the right side of people. He always used to go on about that, didn't he?
Loved it. Aye.
What are you nipple clamps for DPD? What's that for?
What?
DPD delivery nipple clamp.
Oh, I don't even know what that is, mate.
Right, so see when you first went down there, it was like a mix of Celtic and Rangers players, wasn't it? Was it awkward? Because obviously you've been kicking fuck at each other for years before that, eh?
Was the Boydie doing the same time?
Boydie, Robbo, Scott McDonald,
Willow Flood, Chris Killen.
Aye, Chris Killen. Aye. Chris was away by the time I got there. Aye, but then Andy. Aye, it should have been better than it was. Listen, I was probably one of the biggest underachievers, really, or the biggest underachiever. But we should have been better. Eh?
Broke your leg.
I know, but still, it's. When I went down there, I felt I'd cruised this. Felt great pre-season, come off the back of a double, felt fit, had recovered off my both knee injuries, 26, coming to my peak really. And then you're looking at boys like Gary O'Neill and that obviously big reputations down there, and I'm thinking I'm running over the top of him, and I felt like I was miles ahead of him. But then 2 games in, you break your leg, but I still feel as though I should have done more.
Was it quite cliquey, or who did you hang about with? Who was your pals?
No, I honestly don't think it was. I would see, to be honest, I was going to say that because for me, at that period of time, there was a couple of clubs, but my big thing about going to Middlesbrough was the amount of Scottish players that were there. I said it's going to be so much easier for me to settle in, but you don't appreciate that until you're older now, because you see older players that don't really take it into day with younger ones. So it would have been easy for them to just say, oh, this is some young kid, just like let him do his thing. But Tomo did that. To be fair, Tomo, Big Mick was great with me, all of them, but I think Tomo especially.
Were they alright? You had your Rangers autograph book asking them for their autograph?
No, but I actually remember the first week I signed, we had a day off on the Wednesday, I don't know if you remember, and Tom was that week then Wednesday, I was like, nothing, he's like, right, we're going to, what was the shopping centre in Newcastle when we went?
Oh, aye.
So we went to the shopping centre in Newcastle,
Metro.
Get a bit of food, bit of shopping and that, and that's, I've told the story before. I'm seeing Tomo buying these jeans like £300, £400 and that, I'm like, fuck, I'm going to need to do this. So I'm buying these £300 jeans, cut a days later, I'm like, I need to take these back.
Did you drive back to Newcastle and take them back?
I said, I'm not taking the tag off these. Sunday I'm driving straight to the Metro. But no, honestly, brilliant with me, and the standard for going to, you need to realise as well, when I was at Living, I got that, we were League 2 in Scotland. So the standard for that to what I was then going into with all these boys, and the standard of player we had, I'm not just saying this, like Julio Arca and that as well. Like,
was actually good. Was Sunderland?
Yeah, he came to Sunderland, that was his first English club, and couldn't speak a word English, but man, what a football player.
Like mobility wise, like probably didn't quite have the legs at that point in time, but lovely left foot. Like we had some proper players, and like
Tom, that wee shuffle, so had like a wee shuffle.
So like, see that, like shift it with his left and then right, like, tight one. But like Tom was saying about underachieving his cell, it was as a team. Like the players we had, I don't know if I'm just being biased at the time, but I think should have pissed the championship that season.
You were expected, telling you when you all went down, it was like a big hype that you were going to go piss.
Probably signed 2. I think if you could do it again, you probably wouldn't have signed as many, if you know what I mean. But it's
who had the most dough down there? Was Mido still there now?
Big Mido still. Big Mido used to.
Love him to bits, mate.
That was the first thing Gordon said to me. Didn't he buy one of these stupid cars, meaning Bentleys? I was like, no flash like I do. Like does big cars and that. Then he bought me, and then we went into the training centre. He was like, oh, here he is, his ice cream van. He used to have a white Rolls Royce. His white ice cream van. Here's his white ice cream van. And Big Mido turned up, and I'm obviously just getting shown around. Do you know what I mean? And I think he was rumoured to be on about 60 grand.
I loved him though, mate.
Mido is the one guy that Gordon Strachan would not like, mate.
Well, I remember doing my medical, and obviously I'd had my 2 knees, and it was taking a long time. I mean, the missus was sitting in the canteen, but I'm thinking, what's going on here? So like, it was starting to get late, been there all day, shattered, wanted to get back up the road. I wanted to go back to training if I wasn't going to sign, do you know what I mean? Are you back into Rangers? And he come through, he's like, in you come. And it was like a wee bit frosty in the, and the deal that I'd agreed with Gordon was different for the deal that was on the paper. So I said, I'm not signing, I'm just going back up the road. So it was a bit awkward. And then Steve Lamb was Steve Lamb, that's it.
Aye.
Steve Lamb was the chief executive at the time, Steve Gibson's right hand man. And he was like, he says, well, we're no signing. Gordon actually said, take it off my wages and give it to him just to sign. But they were unhappy with my right knee because it was a bit wear and tear. But I'd done my right knee when I was 19. So and my missus is sitting there really awkward. Do you know what I mean? Didn't know what to do. And there was only enough chair for her to sit and me to stand. So there was Karen, the secretary, Steve Lamb, Gordon, obviously myself, and Gordon's like, just take it off my wages, give it to him. I'm like, I'm not signing. Like, you're not really going to drive back up the road without signing. I said, watch me. And they're like, oh, your right knee's no great, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, well, I said, just played 45 games for Rangers and won the double. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've just done pre-season, I'm as fit as I've ever been. But they were getting the hump a wee bit, and then Gordon turned around and said, listen, if you can beat Mido around the pitch, sign him.
If you can beat what?
If you can beat Mido around the pitch, sign him. I didn't see Mido in person until the next game day. Well, he wouldn't fit in this couch.
I'm telling you,
that was Gordon's opinion for my fitness test. I was fit. I just had to beat Mido around the pitch.
Oh, brilliant. What a hero type's going to give you money off his end though?
Aye,
this was the point in time where I told you that like Middlesbrough had a fat club and Mido was the only one in it. so you would go into the training.
Remember he done the treadmill with Vino?
So you would go in the morning, right, and you would walk into the gym and Mido would either be on the bike, his cell, or he'd be running on a treadmill alongside Mark Venus, who's 58-year-old. And
they like minutes at a time, man, they were knackered there.
But you would go in and Mido would be like that, I'm buying this club in a couple of weeks so they can do what they want. They would come and shouts like that.
Oh, what a hero. Was it cliquey down there?
The boys were great. A lot of the boys like Boydies and Robbos, Wee Willows, they all stayed in, what was it called? Wynyard? What was it called? It's like a kind of like built up area, like just nice big coosies if you know.
Who had the nicest house?
I don't know.
No me.
Where did you stay in a flat?
I was in a flat, I loved it, but...
My gaff was nice down there, like.
Oh, is it? Close to the training ground? Because there's nice houses right at the training ground, isn't there?
Andy stayed with us a couple of times.
Aye.
What, stayed in your house? I've stayed at your house in Edinburgh. Remember that?
So you and Gazza, innit?
Me and Gazza, aye.
What was that for? Night out for Dundee?
I think your missus wanted me to stay there.
Is that why she put you top floor?
Night out Dundee, mate. What a gaff, mate. You still in there? What's the biggest house you had? You must have had a nice house at one time.
Durham, I never lived in Durham. I had a big house, fairly big house. It was like 5 bedroom, double garage, big size garden.
You and Lynn?
No, on my own.
You had a 5-bedroom house yourself?
Aye, I don't know why. And then I remember one day I fucking had an M3 car, and I remember I told this story before. Because I had 2 guys, I thought I better go and get another car for that garage. Went and bought this, it gets even worse. Right?
That's mad,
I went and bought a wee Mini Cooper, right, because it was cheap. A black and white one. Drove out of the train next day and the fucking gaffer's pulling me at the office and went, in now. I was like, what are you wanting? He says, what the fuck are you doing driving about a black and white Mini? Says,
oh, Newcastle.
I went, oh, I said, I didn't even fucking think. So I went back and I says, here mate, what can you do with that fucking black and white checks on the roof? He says, I can put a Union Jack on it. I said, I put a fucking Union Jack on it.
And you bought that car off him, didn't you?
Oh, man, that was the first thing I'd done when I went to Middlesbrough was buy a car, because I had a 10-year-old Volkswagen Polo,
mate, nothing worse driving it.
And I went into a Middlesbrough training ground, they're on Fortunes and there's Bentleys, Ranges and that everywhere. My car's rattling through this driveway. I was like, I got a number of this guy, I was like, get me a car.
What did you get?
Audi A3.
Did you? Oh, no bad.
Just standard.
It was all like a standard level of car as you went through the gears, look the rank, like we were youth team, when I was youth team, the Reynolds McGann came out with a fucking convertible, so they were quite cheap. So all the young team they started off with a Citroen Saxo, because they were cheap as fuck, and then you upgraded from a Saxo to a Reynolds McGann convertible, and then you finish a Reynolds McGann, you got yourself a Golf. And then if you made it first team, that was in the BM.
Do you know what I remember? I don't know if you remember this when we were at Middlesbrough. It was when they first proper hit with the car deals for the PFA.
PFA were brilliant, mate.
You could get an SLK for £99 a month.
And I
remember everyone buying SLKs for their missus and their pals and all that.
It was the Audi. You used to get 20% off an Audi, a brand new Audi.
You're made for a David Lloyd gym membership.
A month, you would be, that's right, mate.
Did
you had the stables in your house, didn't you, for yours?
A tripod set up in the stable with it.
what was your big jumping wages, Tom, with Hibs to Rangers?
Aye, Hibs to Rangers.
Well, I always wonder, because obviously we've never had that money, like, see when you first check your bank, is it like, fucking hell, man?
Nah, money wasn't important for me, so to be fair. It's like, listen, we all want it, don't we? That's why we graft. But and I think that was hopefully going through Hibs to to Rangers was I lived the same life really.
Was Walter Smith the same? Would he like keep an eye on what car you were driving, or would he not really care about that?
No, overly. Like, he didn't bother with the cars. Gordon was the only manager that ever said to him about cars. I think I had a Range Rover maybe when I went to Middlesbrough. And that was the one thing. I think quite a lot of the players at that time had Bentleys, but then a lot of the boys up the road had them, like your Boydies and your Hearts, your Griggses, Baz, etc. And to be honest, I did contemplate one at one time. It was like kind of like the dream car, but I was too miserable.
What was a Bentley back then?
Like 150 grand or something.
Was they young English boys at Middlesbrough driving about in Bentleys,
Aye, the boys had, not so much the young ones, but a lot of the first team players, I think maybe loads, weren't there?
No, Batesy had one. Boydie had one.
Boydie, aye.
They are nice.
Tony McMahon had one when he started.
He's not good enough to drive a Bentley, man. He couldn't have passed the ball flag up. Tony McMahon playing against him.
His was 15-year-old though,
80,000 miles on the clock. Brilliant. Right, just quickly on Hibs last year bit, when will impatience start to come? Hibs fans in Montgomery, if results didn't pick up? Or will they give him time to...
No, I think they've... I think the good thing for Nick, without being disrespectful to Lee, is that I think the fans were that far over the hill with Lee that they've changed the kind of narrative a wee bit to kind of back the manager. I think they need to. I'm one of the people that you want to see the teams do well. Listen, well, obviously at Hibby, so you want to see my boys go. They were there on Saturday and they come home sick, and I'm like, listen, that's the life of being a Hibby. But you just want to see them do well. But I do know that the industry that you live in, and they're at a big club, they go and potentially drop points in these next 2 games. They will be under pressure like every other manager, but it's mad, isn't it? Because he's 10, 12 games into his reign, he's not signed any players.
I think it was 6 unbeaten at the start as well.
He's signed probably too many draws in like some of the big games. You think he like...
if you win in positions as well, Tom.
Especially Kelly the first game, that probably was a catalyst for them. Ross County at home, so they've probably and then down to 10 men. It's another wee reason for people to get on your back, but by all accounts, for the kind of word on the street, for speaking to some of the boys, they like him, and hopefully he's going to do well.
I think as well, when it comes to semi-finals, finals, obviously the result's the most important thing. But I think if you're a fan, 48 hours down the line, you take the emotion out of the game, they'll be happy with how they played. Yeah. So is that just a case where we can see what he's trying to do, give him a bit of time?
I think that's why Hibs are happy, because you can see change. You can see the change in how they play. What I like about him as well, see when he does his interviews, he doesn't say too much. Quite simple. So he's not putting himself out there, whereas Lee Johnson was quite, you would call it David Brent.
David Brent.
He was a bit too much, whereas now I think Hibs fans will be fairly happy, and I think they just need to find a wee bit of consistency in the league, because they will go a couple of games where they win and then they lose a couple and they're like, well...
It's funny for Stuart,
top 6 though.
Yeah, Stuart Finlay said down here that that first 45 minutes, Montgomery's first game, was the best team he's played against all year, including Celtic and Rangers.
They started with their tails up, didn't they? He's had a bit of criticism for the fans for what I see, like the subs he's been making, but
listen, he's not got a big squad. He's not a great squad, though, mate.
Well, you look at, I think they had four young ones on the bench. We obviously brought 2 of them on Saturday, Rory Whittaker and Josh Landers. I know Rory well, not so much Josh, but
Whittaker good, Tom?
Aye, and he's only 16, isn't he? Yeah. He's the what you would class as the kind of modern day player coming through, a bit like a Patterson, kind of like a kind of young Alan Hutton type of witty, like really athletic. I'm saying witty as in like Stephen Whittaker, that type of profile, if you know what I mean. So, and he's got a bit about him. I think that's really important in the modern day player, but you need to back that up. I think you need to have a bit of swagger. I say it to my boys all the time, you need to have swagger, but you then need to be the hardest worker on the pitch, the hardest worker in training. No point having swagger and then not doing the basics right. So I would say he's got that. We've had him at the academy a couple of times, and he's got that bit of belief, that bit he sticks his chest out. So hopefully he'll be one that goes and does it.
Ginger chest, good for him. Right, Rangers into the final against Aberdeen, deserved winners over Hearts. Let's get a wee bit of analysis for the man that sat and watched it. How was it?
Sat and watched it, cheeky bastard. Obviously disappointing from a point of view. Thought for 85 minutes at iBooks last week, or 88 minutes, were really good. Followed the game plan really well. Thought the first half was kind of more of the same. I don't think Rangers created too many opportunities, but I think we were still a wee bit disappointed in the first half of how we were in possession. Still thought we could have done a bit more. Then the second half, very, very similar to iBooks. I think the penalty just sort of kills us a bit, because, like I said, at that point, well, Rangers had a lot of territory, but I don't think they had many clear-cut chances. Yeah. And then out of sort of nowhere, they end up getting the penalty, and after that, I think our reaction is poor.
The ball, what, sorry?
The goalie, sorry, mate.
I think our reaction to going 1-0 down is going to disappoint us, because you stick to more of the same, and then try and improve a wee bit of what you were doing in possession, then you've still got a chance. But to concede a second so quickly, and similar to what we're saying about the Hibs goal they conceded, I think that was a bit like us. Like, we've lost the ball in the middle of the pitch, and for there, our set up behind the ball's not good enough. And 2 passes later, Scott Wright in the box and great finish. So disappointing. But Rangers, to be fair, I thought Rangers were good in the second half.
Goalie's coming sliding it. The ball's going out to play.
I don't know why.
Is he going to score for there if he shoots?
I think you've got it's identifying what the danger is, and he's thought, I'll come and get that. And even if he gets there, he's swiping that with his left foot, and the chances of him actually scoring from that angle are very, very slim. Even if he doesn't shoot, he's taking a touch and he's bringing it back. They've got bodies back in the box. It's just a poor decision. Tony Sibic did it last week and cost him with the decisions there.
Haring done it the week.
Sibic one was a bit different, but Haring definitely. These are big moments in the game that can, and like Andy says there, I think once the penalty went in, Hearts didn't have a reaction. That was kind of like it was
like they never had a game plan to what they were going to do if they did go one.
And it was a kick in the balls, and it was like deflated them, and they didn't really have any comeback from that. And then obviously, like you see, you lose a second one quickly, that's it, it's totally deflated. And then for me, I don't know, I didn't actually genuinely think that Hearts were going to get anything yesterday. I thought Rangers to me are on the up slowly. The players that Beale brought in, I think, with Dessers not being up front and actually Danilo being up front, I think they feel they've got something there to work with up front. I think that's making a difference to their team. Tavernier, credit to him. I mean, penalty, free kick was outrageous.
Well, it's funny because you weren't on last week, but I don't know if you watched it. What you were saying about Tavernier, like, I think the stick he gets is just over the top.
It's mad. I think it's mad. But you talk about wearing jerseys, like Rangers jerseys, a heavy burden. Wearing the armbands 10 times 10, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's what he's having to deal
It
with.
was amazing how poor he was against Hearts the way. Like, as an individual, I'm pretty sure he'll know that. Like, I'm talking like never got by the first man, did he?
No. And then
last week's game,
the 2 moments,
and then 2 moments in the game. Do you know what I mean? Like, misses a penalty. I actually was watching the game thinking, I'm struggling to see a return for him if they end up drawing 1-1 here or getting beat, because he's that volatile when it comes to mixed emotions with the fans, innit? And then he then steps up and scores the penalty, and then drives up the line, and probably the best ball you'll see the whole of the weekend for obviously Danilo. I think Danilo, in my opinion, for the glimpses that I've had at Rangers, I think Danilo will be a right good player.
I really like him.
I think
his movement's great, mate.
Good movement, he's sharp. But no, the next bit is when he come on against Hearts, it was like he was like egging the team on, rather than sometimes like when I've watched some of the players, it's like they just want to blend in.
Yeah.
And you cannot blend in at Rangers, you know what I mean? And it's like that would be the difference between some of the signings are like maybe hoping. It was always a terminology that Walter used to use with us. Some you just expect to be good players and others go and grab it. And he looks like the type that will go and grab it, and others just want to blend in and hope that the team gets them by. If you're one of the players that just float, you normally fail, if you know what I mean. And then if the team's not doing well, the people, they normally come for you. Whereas if you're one that maybe the team's not doing so well and you wear your heart on your sleeve and you kind of show that bit about you, they normally gravitate to you, don't they?
Aye. See, considering in most cases as well where opposition teams are going to come in and flood the box, it's amazing how much space Danilo actually finds in the box on his own. And that tells me you're a proper striker.
He's going to score all types of goals.
Aye.
He's got that's what I like about him. See the header last week against.
By the way, he's not big.
No, he's tiny.
See, if I compare it to Dessers, right, and I don't want to, because he's obviously having a tough time and a lot of people are coming after him now, but it feels like every time he gets the ball, it seems like it's a fight. Do you know what I mean? There's a fight somewhere. He's fighting with a centre half, he's fighting with himself, whereas Danilo seems as if he's always got a yard by the time he gets the ball. He's always finding that extra yard, that extra bit of space. Dundee could have scored 5, and I was looking at the end of it. I know he still comes away with a goal, but give me a striker that's getting 5 chances a game every day of the week than somebody that's maybe had 1 or 2 chances and scored 1.
Listen, he's got a long way to go to get anywhere near the boy across the city, but he's got that sharp movement, that playing on the shoulders. And listen, the Kyogo's brilliant, isn't he? But I said it to Jordy just a few weeks ago. I said, by the way, I've only seen wee glimpses of him because he's had his injury and obviously the face mask, etc. But I just think you can tell. And I think he'll be moving forward for Rangers. Listen, whether they're going to have a successful season or no, because I think Celtic will be hard to pick when it comes to the league. But it's amazing that Celtic had won the league 3 weeks ago and now there's only 5 points in it. It's amazing how things change, And that's not like driving Rangers' agenda. I just mean that's what football's like. You can be that far in front, then all of a sudden you slip up. And then Rangers
just a wee bit of hope.
I think
just a wee bit of hope with the draw. Sorry, Andy, the hope with the draw. Then you get your talisman striker, but your main striker who you've spent the money on to come back. and he starts scoring goals and the team start getting
Momentum,
results.
yeah.
It's momentum.
Yeah.
That club now probably feels, do you know what? Are we really that far away? And he's come in there and scored a few goals and done well. But he's probably not fully fit yet or fully sharp to where he probably wants to be.
He missed pre-season, didn't he?
And he's had his cheekbone smashed, so he's come back from that. So I still think there's more to come, and that might galvanise some of the rest of the players round about, and the Seamers and stuff, and the Lammers. They might rise up, and you've seen Cantwell and stuff, and I think Rask, I don't know how long he's out for, but listen, Rangers, the league's no, for me, I don't think the league's over. There's still
You talk about momentum as well, Kev, and listen, I agree with what you're saying. I think Celtic are still the favourites for the league, but the first trophy of the season's massive. I think it's massive for this group of players as well that are just in. They all know, they heard the talk in the summer about the burden of winning silverware this year. If you win the first part of silverware in the season, it's got to give you a lift going into the rest of the season.
Yeah, predictions for the final then?
I think it will be tight. I generally do. Don't get me, I do think Rangers are favourites, and if I'm tipping anyone, I do think it will be Rangers that are going to go and win it, but I think it will be tight. I think Aberdeen have showed the way Ibrox 3-4 weeks ago and won 3-1. Yeah. They showed that they've got a game plan that can frustrate teams. They've done it in Europe. I think they performed really well in Europe, even though they've not had the results. For the PAOK game, I thought they were excellent for the most part. I thought Frankfurt away, I thought they were really, really good. Wouldn't you be surprised to see them go in with the same sort of game plan in the final? And I still think there is a sort of the only question mark with Rangers just now, and I think Clement's came in, I think there's been a great start, but how are they when they play against teams that are stuffy and they need to break in for 90 minutes? And I think that's how Aberdeen are going to be. So
just did you get your pyro back after Dundee?
No.
Got it back. Tom, predictions?
I've got the same as Andy, to be honest. I think Robbo's got that. I think when Aberdeen are in the ascendancy and they need to have all the ball, they're maybe less effective. Yeah. I think when they're robust and well organised and they can play in the break, and like what they've done at Ibrox, being quite comfortable, not having much of the ball, which they probably won't have, and being quite direct. I would say probably when Rangers do go and attack, the most vulnerability is down the sides of the two centre backs. When you think of Conor Golson and maybe a Ben Davies, I know Balogun would probably be the opposite of that. I think Balogun allows them to play a bit higher because he's got the recovery speed. I think when they play with Suter, and they have went to a back three at times, but when they play with Suter, Davies or Conor Golson as a two, I think Balogun just gives them that wee bit extra momentum, a wee bit more recovery speed that gives them the more momentum to kind of have teams penned in, if you know what I mean, knowing that he can go that way. Whereas I think Aberdeen are quite complaceable to say, come on in, try and break us down, and knowing that they've got the quality against Hibs to flip it, to go and score a goal.
Good year player you had, Conor Barn, going to play in a League Cup final.
Aye, brilliant. I'm delighted for him. Great lad. He's we were lucky to have him. Gutted when we lost him, obviously. Yeah. And to be fair, for what he was doing for us at Celtic was unbelievable, but I didn't think going back in January at that time, probably on a selfish note, was the best thing for him. I thought he'd go back there and not get many minutes and sit on the bench when he could have won it. Well, he did win a League Two, but could have played another 15-20 games for us and then had a great pre-season and hopefully went and flourished. But it was obviously the right decision to go back because he got in and he's kind of stayed in.
Yeah. We spoke about him on Saturday, Tom. I think everyone associates him as just this wee dog, and I think he's more than that.
No, he can play.
He can play.
He can play, mate. I think he's a good player.
He can play. He's the one, but I used to challenge him at Celtic. I thought he was that good that when I think of Jonas, when I think of him getting assists and scoring goals, Barron obviously can do a bit more without the ball than what Barjo can. I think Barjo's brilliant, mate. I don't care what anyone says, and he should be better than he is, Barjo. I think he's a brilliant football player. But Barron was the one that, like, when you think of when we were talking about Dylan Levitt earlier, he can get anywhere. He can run forward, he can run back, he can rat the ball, he can be really effective without it. And then the next part is I think he can handle it. I think he's got a good picture. He's really dynamic, and I think he's, apart from his stature and height, which I hope doesn't hold him back, because he's not the biggest lad, but he's game.
He looks like wee Burnley if you're Absy Nesbitt, doesn't he? That's what I thought it was.
By the way, heart the size of a lion, and I think as he gets more powerful, as in, like, you know, it's like when you're young, you start to play with men and getting pushed about in training all the time. You get that durability, you get that resilience in your body, and I think he's only going to get better as a midfielder as well. I think when you get to your kind of mid-20s, 23, 24, 25, you should be becoming like the best player that you can be.
Okay, predictions?
I think Rangers will win the final, but I hate saying this, but they need to score early, because Aberdeen will come and frustrate. If they get an early goal, open the game up a bit, I think Rangers fine, but then you've got to obviously be worried of the dangers of maybe like a Duke and Miovski on the counter-attack and stuff like that. Tomo says long balls and the challenge between Goldson and Ben Davies or whether Suter was, that will always be a problem if you've got Tav high and Barisic high, but a good final, Si.
Yeah.
In terms of what was available once obviously Celtic, the reigning champions, get knocked out, Celtic, Rangers, Aberdeen, Rangers, Hearts finals.
Always a bit of needle as well with Aberdeen Rangers, isn't there?
There's history there between Rangers and Aberdeen, and Aberdeen will go there thinking, that, why can we not be the first team to win the...
There's been mixed results over the years, Aberdeen Rangers at Hampden as well.
So,
obviously Rangers won extra time last year. Aberdeen beat them in the semi-final, I think it was three years now, so there has been some mixed results.
I think in terms of the two managers, I think it's great for Barry Robson to get to a final.
Yeah.
I think it's important for Clement to win the final to get really under the nose of the Rangers fans and get them going, because I think that they're needing massive momentum, because they're still, like, you're thinking of 3 Old Firm games still to be played. What's 5 points? I don't care what anybody says. I know.
Is it like you've went to the difficult venues in there so far?
So far, but Celtic had a tough gig through there with St Mirren 2-1.
Yeah.
Managed to see to get the 3 points, but still tough. So other teams will look at that, and Rangers look at that and think, God, teams will make it difficult. But you just got to keep winning each week and see where it takes you. Just
quickly, Rangers Sparta Prague Thursday. They need to win to qualify for the group, don't they?
I think it's a must-win, purely for the fact that I think Betis away is going to be tough. I thought they were good at home to Betis, but for me, you could see that Betis had another gear or two.
Yeah.
So I think going over there is going to be a different sort of challenge. I think you'd like to think they can take care of Limassol at home, but the performance over there was probably as poor as I've seen them this season. So I think the onus is them to go and win the game on Thursday. Cause I think if they win the game on Thursday, they should take care of Limassol, and then that'll be them.
You doing it with Tom?
I'm no, mate, no.
Has he patched you?
No, I have been patched.
Who's in instead?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. The list is becoming too long for me.
Is it
you done Limassol away, didn't you?
I done Limassol away. I done that for.
You done well to stay.
It was tough.
You must be doing something under the table. How many noises he makes, mate? What is it you're doing?
And Dave was obviously a good mate. I was in it, so I was desperate for Dave to do well. But I agree with Andy that the Limassol game was as tough as I've commentated on and as tough as I've watched to be fair. But Betis then go over there and obviously only win 2-1. So obviously it's a difficult venue to go. The heat, the pitch is no great. So without making excuses for the lads, but I think they look like a team that were really vulnerable and a bit lost, desperate for somebody like a Clement to come in and kind of lead through the front really. So it's there's definitely been an upturn and I don't know about right where they want to be, but there's definitely been an upturn in quality and a wee bit more passion. And I like the way he speaks. He's quite direct, speaks about winning all the time.
Yeah.
And it's really important.
But by the way, Sparta Prague looked good, I thought, over there.
They were poor in the last
15, 20 minutes.
I thought Rangers gave them a bit too much respect, really. And the white boys, to be fair,
the boy on the left was a joke.
He was a joke. How are you going to say his name?
Did you watch Sparta Prague over there, mate?
What's his name?
No chance. But he was very, very good, mate.
Where's he from?
No idea. Couldn't even tell you. But he was like, Rangers are so condensed over one side of the pitch. He's picking up the touchline, and next thing you know, he's chopped it inside. He's nutmegged somebody, and he's running a goal, and you're like, where'd that come from? Proper sharp, like really direct.
If they play in the break, that might be a bit vulnerability for Rangers because they might have less of the ball, if you know what I mean. And then the boys that do play wide for them, so that'll be one that you would say that they need to be cagey, and obviously alert for that. But I think Rangers will win. I think they'll do enough to get through the group.
Right, on to Celtic. Kev, you watch a game?
I didn't know, mate. Saturday morning, I'm too busy with football, but...
you said you never took the games to stop line. You'll not catch me out, mate.
I watched Tom and I watched the last 10 minutes and then what did I do actually Saturday afternoon? 12:30. I was talking to a bacon roll or two. And then a wee couple of holes at the golf. But no, Celtic up away to Ross County, tough place to go, but sending off early on the game helps. Then they huffed and puffed for a bit. And then Turnbull obviously caught with another.
What about Palmer's hit, mate?
Palmer's hit.
Something.
He's a player, I like him, mate.
Up and down. No, he looks like...
See what you said about Danilo, he's got that thing where he's going to be the man, mate. He's not here just to
But then I watched Palmer through the week against St Mirren. I felt he was quite predictable. Quite a lot of times he would face up the fullback and come inside all the time. And I thought, has he got the pace to go on the outside? I don't know. I'm unsure.
On that right, didn't
likes to come in on that right hand side, and sometimes I think that when you're a tricky winger like that, you've got to change it up because teams will watch that and see, right, okay, we'll just keep showing him in, and then does it become effective? I don't know, but 3-0, 2 great hits, one for Turnbull, one for Palmer, and obviously the third goal. But listen, that's why you can dig up to Ross County to get your 3 points and down the road.
Slaney's not here at Creamy's knickers over James Forrest, so somebody else will need 15 goals, 15 seasons consecutively scored.
Top player, mate. I always remember
underrated as well, mate.
I always tell Scott when obviously he was there, he was like, James is the best. Like,
so Scott Brown thought James Forrest was the best player.
James is the best, aye. But some of the managers have come out and said that as well, haven't they? I'm sure Brendan was.
Rogers said a couple of bits about
when the first time he was when he was obviously there previous. Lenny, I think was the same. He was Lenny's boy, wasn't he? You know what I mean? So he's I remember going away with Scotland. I think I've told you this before, Si. And I got called in late. It was Belgium on the Friday night, and then...
No, you've not told me this.
Have I not?
No.
Lithuania. Was it? No, I know Lithuania. Who was it? Macedonia. On the Tuesday night or the Wednesday night. Then Gordon I was back at Hibs, 29. I'd not been in the Scotland squad for a few years. And we played, and it killed me as well. I just had to grit my teeth, because at that stage of my career I couldn't really do double sessions with my knees, and Gordon was like high intensity in the morning, back for like in the pool, recovery, lunch, and then back out in the afternoons for 11v11, like maybe like 20 minutes. So like 60-minute game in the afternoon, and my knees are like fucking fat. I didn't want to tell him that I couldn't train, because I wanted to be part of it. So I just gritted my teeth thinking, fuck, I'll just all in, I'll just have a go, and if I get injured, I get injured. And played in some of the games, obviously centre mid, and he pulled me maybe 2 or 3 days into it, maybe the Wednesday, the Thursday leading into the Friday night. He goes, come here. So I come over, and he goes, I need a favour. I said, alright. He says, what's that? He says, you play left back for me in the game. I was like, aye, no bother. Thinking, aye, fucking left back, I'll just sling it into strikers, I'll slap it into midfield.
Into the channel.
Well, I didn't even realise I was playing against Jamesy Forrest there. Oh, he absolutely terrorised me. I kept on saying, Jamesy, fuck off, man.
I couldn't see you play left back though. Defensively, anyway.
But mate, you're aggressive off the ball,
Oh, mate, aye, in the middle of the pitch, mate, when you've got 4 people behind you, you can't be aggressive
big
when you
open
just flick it,
spaces.
big open spaces, mate.
What was he so good at, Tom? Was just pace?
He just
Can go both ways, I think.
ways, manipulation of the ball. By the way, without doing any step over, just what I would call like being able to like change direction so quickly, and like can he egg you on to thinking that he's going to go that way, and just be able to get his whole body weight to go the other way so quick, and he was rapid. I never realised how fast he was.
Technically good as well, Tom, eh?
Technically good, aye. Well, that's what I'm saying. So when he got by you, it wasn't like he gave you half a chance to get back. When he got by you, it then went in where you didn't want it to go in. So I think I played 20 minutes against him, but it was. I remember getting the ball, and by that time I had only 2 minutes in. The shockwaves were through me, and I slinged one into. I don't know who it was. I slinged one into the striker, and Gordon stopped it. He was like, fucking rubbish. He was like, you're better than that. He says, give me fucking more. I was like, I'm not bothered about the ball, I'm just thinking about Jamesy. I'm just thinking about Jamesy Forrest, man. I'm like, oh, he terrorised me.
But you don't know yourself how hard it is to survive at clubs like Celtic and Rangers. For him to do it for 15 years has been
I think he's had an unbelievable footballing career, and to spend it at that time at Celtic, and then obviously with Rodgers coming back for a long time under Ange, he was totally out of the picture.
Andrew had bad injuries as well.
Yeah.
He's always had issues with his hamstrings and that, innit? So like a lot of times probably having to dig deep to recover, and maybe no big serious operation injuries or whatever. You know, have a bad back or something.
Yeah, I think
15 years he's been there. There's never been like a bad headline or.
I think he's with his house mate, isn't he?
I didn't know him that well, but I went to Scottish. We had the surprise 30th. We got pumped at Celtic Park on the Friday night.
Oh, that was a bad one, mate. 6-0.
I took us for 6. Well, Scottish surprise party was on the Saturday. His 30th. So obviously I had to go and spend the night with the Celtic players after getting humped 6-0. It's great.
I remember you receiving the ball for back four, and I was hiding behind people.
There was a few people hiding. That
was a bad night.
Bad night.
The team pretty much picks itself. The only position probably up for grabs is the Hatate position. Who goes in there? Bernardo, Turnbull. Home looks good again for me. Really like Home.
There's a lot of talk about Turnbull. He's come in and scored a couple of goals, and people say, has he got the legs for a European night? But I think he's got to be in. He scored 2 goals in the last 2 games, and I thought he's played quite well.
So you go with Turnbull, Kev?
Go with Turnbull,
he brought Bernardo on for Hatate the last European game.
I don't think Bernardo did enough for me. I don't think there wasn't a lot in the game where I actually thought noticed anything spectacular he did, but I thought at least with Turnbull, if he doesn't have the legs that everybody says he has, he's got this, and I think he keeps the ball well. And I think in games like what they're going to be like Atletico Madrid, you've got to try and keep the ball.
But you also need to be really good off it, don't you?
I think I would go with Bernardo, to be fair.
For the legs.
And I also actually think when he came on last week, I thought he was really good up to 20 minutes to go, and he looked fucked.
He blew a fucking gasket.
I thought he went, but he's not played a lot of football either, has he? I still think the Awata situation's weird to me for Celtic.
I like Awata as well, mate.
And he came on at Tynecastle, done well, scored.
Not been seen since.
Not been seen since, has he? When there's been a couple of sort of changes as well. So, but I think, like, I agree with you. I think the rest of the team sort of picks itself.
What about you, Tom? Not seen enough.
I'm a bit the same as Kay. I get the bit without the ball, like, but probably be close enough and probably defensive enough that he'll no need to like run 40-50 yards up the pitch to then have to recover to get back. So probably like shuffling side to side and being clever enough, and then the next part is can he look after the ball, because when you go away from home and play against good teams, you need people that, listen, they can all look after it, can't they? But I think he's a good player. Another one that's I thought he would go on and maybe flourish at Celtic and then end up doing south or whatever, but probably his injuries have maybe held him back a wee bit. But got an eye for a goal, lovely football player, can handle the ball, which I think is really important.
And see on that game, Ross County, did you watch it? Or were you
Just
playing?
bits and pieces we were playing, mate.
Ross County, obviously their game plan was going to be the way it was anyway, but to go down to 10 men after 8-9 minutes, can't have any complaints with it. And then after that, I mean, the full of Dingwall was in their box. So, see when you're talking about the games that are tight like that,
Shots outside the box.
see people like Ross Turnbull, David Turnbull can have a shot for 25 yards out and hit the target and score goals. Massive, because the Ross Laidlaw was on fire.
He was good, mate, wasn't
He did a very good game.
It probably needed like a magic for 20-25 yards out, and I said, mate, Liam Scales, he got first contact about 7 corners.
He's a fucking machine now, isn't he?
He's doing well, mate. He's doing really
See,
well.
hang on, Palmer, does he go down the outside and put it in with his left for the goal now? For Forest Cedar? Is that not Palmer?
Aye, wasn't it?
What?
It
It was, aye.
Uh-huh.
It was Palmer,
It
wasn't it?
was Palmer,
Yeah, it
aye,
was
you're right.
Palmer.
So he can do it.
Right, predictions for the game. Be a tough one, won't it? Atletico.
It will be tough, but I don't know. You just go out there and Kev talked about it earlier. Work really hard. You've just got to work really hard in good areas and try and make it difficult. And when you get the ball, try and keep it. And can you create that wee opportunity? Celtic will get an opportunity.
They're not a team that are amazing in terms of dominating possession. They are another team that are better off the ball, aren't they?
Lost 2-1 to the week there to Las Palmas. So, like, for me, everybody was expecting Atletico Madrid to come to Parkhead and run over the top of Celtic, and they didn't. So Celtic got to have that belief, and I think they've got to go there with the belief that try and be on the front foot to start with. Don't make it easy for them.
Do you know where I disagreed with a lot of people though last week? Is a lot of people, because Celtic did do well and get the result, a lot of people said Atletico Madrid were poor. Mate, I thought some of the football Atletico Madrid played was unbelievable.
Listen,
but I just thought Celtic were really good.
Yeah.
Competed really well. That it was easy just to say, aye, but Atletico Madrid weren't at it. I actually thought they played a lot of good stuff. But it's going to be a big ask over there. It's going to be a long
The
night.
presence of Slaney in the stadium will help, Celtic.
100%. I
I think it
do.
will, won't it?
And he's pitch side, didn't he?
Naked.
Pitch side.
we James,
So
James
it could be a boost to a few players.
Right, predictions. Give us a prediction. Because we'll not see you.
I don't know. I don't know. I actually don't know, to be honest.
I'll go 2-0 Atletico.
I cannot see them getting it. I hope they do, because I want to see Scottish teams do well. And I know people sit and say, "Oh,
That's your Twitter blowing up, right, Tom?
that's not what-"
Enjoy that, mate.
I just can't see it, to be honest.
No, I'm the
just-
same. I think a good performance and come away with some pauses, but
I think they've topped me. Yeah. I just think they probably.
Do you know who's a joke? The boy gets sent off. What's his name again? DePaul?
No, Rodrigo de Paul.
He's a joke.
Messi's best mate.
I think they're.
Mate, you're no Messi's best mate
he
if you're
suspended
shite,
for this
mate.
game?
See if you're shite, Messi's not talking to you, mate.
Is he suspended for this game?
I'm not sure, mate.
They will be.
Don't know how
they
to
will
do
be,
it.
huh?
Griezmann's touch, mate, and how he takes the ball. I
Awareness,
cannot,
mate.
young
I don't
kids
think
watch.
Griezmann, and you're talking about a number 10 who plays forward all the time. I don't think Griezmann lost the ball last week.
Mate, his
Honestly.
touch under pressure and the way he receives it and takes it away from people. If you're watching kids, just watch that guy, man. It was amazing.
Yeah. Right, more domestic stuff now. Tom O'Connor get in, and you can see why, because St Johnstone have made a really forward-thinking move, and Craig Levine's been named as
Oh,
the
man.
manager on a 3-year deal.
Somebody-
Is it a good appointment?
Right, well, the initial reaction, I'll
Can't believe you
say,
never got Reece McCabe in there. Eh?
Aye.
I'd had Jim before him. You could be Reece's assistant.
That's the way it's going. Eh? That's the way it's going. Eh?
I was thinking about the Reece McCabe thing is getting always a wee bit of chat because there's
He's got here to do it League One, which a lot of managers, Ian Murray couldn't do it. A lot of managers couldn't do it.
So who's the Race Rovers manager?
Ian Murray.
And they're flying.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. He's obviously a good manager, and he
Yes.
was the Airdrie manager for 2 or 3 years.
That's
Couldn't
right, I
get
would
into League
agree.
One.
That's right, I would have went for the St John's job. I'd have given it to Ian Murray.
Based on what?
Just think he's been around football for a long time and coached here and ever. And I think he's got good ideas. Sometimes I think like every team, most teams he's been at, he's got them going to a point. And what does St Johnstone need right now? They need to kind of get going. I don't know.
Is that what St Johnstone's
Well, it's Craig Levine. What St Johnstone need?
Well, that's the thing.
His initial reaction's
Because
negative.
Ian Murray plays football. They play a bit
Yeah,
of
they play
football.
a bit, yeah.
As St Johnstone want to go down a bit more hard to beat route, stay in the league this year. I don't know.
The thing with St Johnstone is, up until the two boys got, not two boys, but Steve McLean got sacked, and then obviously Liam Craig as assistant. They never had Nicky Clark, so you've got your kind of strike main goal scoring threat, no involved. He's come back in after being sacked, scored 2 goals against
He's a
Kilmarnock
massive
through the
player
week.
for him.
So maybe St Johnstone might be on the upturn anyway because they've got a talisman back who's going to score them goals. Maybe that's what they're lacking. I don't know. I think they've been poor because I've spoken to Liam Craig about Liam Craig's wee boy plays in the same team as Tom, and he said that like, in a lot of the games they played, they've been involved in the game. They didn't feel like they were overly outplayed or hammered. Just putting the ball in the back of the net's been a problem. So
why do you think they've went with Craig Levein?
Is that for me or for Andy?
Anyone
everybody's
else?
to answer it, but I don't know.
Well, when was his last manager
You can
job, sir?
only answer with experience, can't you?
But experience of this situation?
Well, he's not been a manager since.
Where he got sacked?
Well, he done sporting director first.
Aye.
Yeah.
What was that,
Off the back,
2017?
But his last job, he never done well. He got sacked for Hearts, didn't he?
Aye, effectively. Well, aye. You
Sacked
could
for
argue he got
Hearts,
sacked.
director of Hearts,
Director of Hearts, then
and then
obviously.
And then he's been at Brecon,
And
and then
then,
he's been sporting director.
Brecon.
and then tried to.
So Andy
then started
was the manager, he was and now it's...
and then started a podcast on the BBC on a Sunday morning and bored the shit out of the
Maybe it was
nation.
his performances on that
And
that
then,
got the job.
well, I don't know because
You might get a job soon, mate.
no.
I need to start a podcast.
Start a
Imagine
podcast.
that.
Just come on here, mate. Regular guest here.
Will they keep him up?
Do you know what? Right, I think there's a possibility he probably could because I think there's some teams in that bottom half. I.e., I'm going to
league's so
say
tight as well,
Livingston. I think Livingston are going through a horrific patch. Watched the highlights really all night of Livingston versus Hearts, and there was no highlights of Livingston, so that tells you where they're at.
I'm surprised Davey never went to St Johnstone.
I wasn't.
So Livingston wrote a statement to say that Davey wasn't going. So Davey wrote a statement to say
I was
that
going to
he
say,
wasn't
he runs a gaff at Libby, didn't he? So
So Davey wrote his own statement to say we've had a poach from somebody for me, but I'm not going.
Davey's got that much control that Dave Black's the CEO at Livingston, isn't he? But he's got a CEO that's called David. So
you know,
And is that him just changing his second name when he puts a suit on?
Aye.
I'm Davey Black now.
I really like Davey Martin.
So
I
like him as
I know
well.
Dave Black really well as well. He used to work at Football Nation when we used to get the kit for the kids. He's kind of Livingston fan, worked his way up for kind of fan media all the way to kind of running the club, an intelligent lad. But it's, I thought, listen, as a young coach, obviously looking for opportunities, and that'll be for the echoes for everybody else. When you see Craig, people like that getting jobs, it makes it difficult, doesn't it? But they've obviously, like, he's got wealthy experience, regardless of, to me, when people are hiring jobs, it doesn't seem to be that forthcoming on what you've done prior.
Yeah.
It can sometimes just be...
What you done 15 years ago?
Potentially, aye. Potentially it can
How many years have you got under your belt?
Well, you look at like when Cove put Jim McIntyre in, maybe hadn't been in a job for I think like 2.5, 3 years or whatever, do you know what I mean? And it's like, no that he hadn't worked at bigger clubs, but it's, you sometimes, without being negative towards it, you sometimes wonder what the criteria is, and when the people sit around the boardroom table to, like, when you think of Craig Levein and Davy Martindale, which were names were quite high, Kevin Thomson or Scott Brown doesn't fit into that really, totally different. Eh? So you wonder what the criteria is for obviously these type of jobs, if you know what I mean. That's not saying that you want them or you want an opportunity, but it's I suppose when there's 42 clubs in the league and you're trying to make an opportunity for yourself, then when they're going to boys like Craig that have probably had loads and loads and loads of opportunities, it makes it a wee bit frustrating, doesn't it? Would you work with Bruni? Both want to be number one. No, I think it's hard for me and Scotty because we've both been managers and we're probably on the same path to collide, if you know what I mean. He's got a great ally and obviously what a good mate of mine, so they've worked really well. So I'd imagine I know he's been in for a couple of jobs down south and maybe just missed out. So I think he would take another one tomorrow if it was the right opportunity. Whether he was interested in St Johnstone or not, I didn't know. But he, and I've had Geordie, obviously. Geordie's back in at Kelly. I've trusted him by my life really. So you kind of make your own path, don't you? And you trust your own kind of people. But he knows I'd do anything for him and vice versa. But I don't know if the makeup of what we are as individuals would be a good foil together, if you know what I mean. Whether we complement each other or maybe we both kind of want the same type of pressure and the same prestige in making the big decisions, if you know what I mean. You played under Levein at Scotland, didn't you? I did, aye. Only a couple of times.
Left back.
Aye, in the changing room. I did. Listen, I've always got on well with Craig. I've obviously competed against him really, and then obviously he was a national manager for a wee while. I think I got injured no long after that, but listen, I've got no problem with Craig really. It's I get on quite well with him, and it's.
He's meant to be a good guy, isn't he?
Aye, he's a hardy character. Like he's a reputation for being quite ruthless, but I suppose when I think it's just the natural thing to look at without being a defeatist is like when people get opportunities in the industry that you're maybe involved in, it's you wonder what the criterion and the remit is for getting these type of jobs, if you know what I mean, because it's a big club, it's a Premier League club, can they go through sacking Stevie to then you could argue like total polar opposite for thinking that Stephen was their man only 6 months ago to then not even 6 months ago. Caretaker manager tail end of the season, and then obviously get appointed in the summer to then Craig Levein. Like you're like,
that's
what's your long term?
The same people sitting around the table. How can it be so different? If you know what I mean? That's I suppose when you try to, or my food for thought would be like, how do you become under these type of people's noses, like what they want as an individual? Because Stephen and Craig are. They couldn't be total further apart, really. Do you know what I mean? In the stages of their career and what they are as young coaches are well, an experienced coach to a young coach, if you know what I mean. So you wonder the four people that sit around the table to build up a shortlist of what type of manager they want, and they see where their club's going to go for a young one that knows the club inside out to then something that doesn't know the club. It's
Man, so you're related to Stephen McLean. Have you told me that before?
We grew up in Peebles together,
yeah, right.
So not related, but like Stephen's dad's my dad's cousin. So we looked after me at school and that, and obviously Hutchie boys together, even though 2 age bands apart, and then kind of had footy career. So I was just in Romania there in the summer when I'm just finishing my pro licence. He's just starting his, so good lad. And listen, you're just desperate to see people do well, aren't you?
Yeah.
But the harsh reality is, it's like we were talking obviously about Nazy and kind of young coaches getting opportunities. It's tough, innit?
Would you go down south?
I'd go anywhere.
Would you?
That's why I'm fucking through here on a Monday.
Punting your arse. Brilliant. Right, Kelly beat Motherwell. And then Stuart Kettlewell flying to start the season. What do you think's happened the last kind of 7 games?
I don't know. I'm looking to see if it's anything to do with personnel. He's got injuries, he's got suspensions, but there's nothing really.
No, he's actually got me back. The boy came back into.
Is that the problem? He's got a selection headache. But I don't know. I think last week they were fortuitous to get a draw with Ross County.
Injury time, wasn't it?
Aye, after being 3-1 down. So when you look at the actual last, I think it's maybe 6 or 7 games. It's like 6 defeats in a draw, or it's. Which easily could have been 7 defeats.
Yeah.
Well, a guy like Robbie Nielsen wouldn't have survived 7 defeats, so he only got 5. So he's had a honeymoon period with Motherwell at the end of last season, which has allowed him that bit of breathing space. But if he doesn't start winning games soon, the Vultures will start to.
It seems to happen a lot with Motherwell teams, doesn't it? When somebody first takes over, they get
a lift.
And then.
It happened with Graham Alexander. Got a boost.
Stephen Hamill as well.
Stevie Hamill got a boost.
Yeah.
Kettlewell's got a boost, and then it's like, okay, is it? I don't know.
Just need to keep changing the manager every 6 months, Motherwell, don't they?
What's the expectation of Motherwell?
Because they probably are where they should be, Tom, now, when you look at the table.
Listen, I don't know what their budget is, but I'm guessing it'll be kind of bottom 6 type budget. I might be wrong. When you think of obviously the big 5 straight away, your Kellys, your St Mirrens will probably potentially pay more money. I don't know, that doesn't mean you have the 8th biggest budget in the league, you finish 8th. You obviously have to overachieve, but I just think that they probably, for Stuart's perspective, doing so well. I seen his interview after the game. I think 15 wins in 22 games prior to obviously going on this sticky run. You're advocate for obviously people to keep their jobs. So he kind of went a wee bit in his interview at the end, obviously when he got put under pressure about his kind of job. They've also played the Old Firm in the 7 games as well. Do you know what I mean? So it is difficult, but then you do play the Old Firm quite quickly because there's only 11 fixtures in the league, isn't there? Do you know what I mean? So by the time you get to...
Can you keep using that as an excuse? Because like you say, you play them only 11 games between every time you play them.
Exactly, so it's you know that the games are coming, you know that you potentially need to go to Tynecastle, you need to go to Easter Road, you might need to go up to Pittodrie, so these games are obviously tough. I just, for whatever reason, it feels as though apart from that, Stephen Robinson, I don't know what year that was, when I think they finished third and got to the cup final. It feels as though they've probably never had the success that maybe the fans or the club are craving, if you know what I mean. But does that mean that if you're not finishing top 6 or kind of breaking into that top 5, you just lose your job? It's just tough, isn't it?
Yeah. Play St Johnstone next. It's not a must win for Stuart Kettlewell. I think he's done enough to give himself time, hasn't he?
I agree. There should be enough goodwill there for that run he went on, because we're talking, 6 weeks ago, that run of games that Tom was talking about, I think there were 2 points behind Celtic in that time frame. So you can't go for that to obviously 7 games.
On the back of that, I agree that there's a bit of goodwill in there for what he's done. But if you lose to St Johnstone then sit on 10 points, you're sitting 11.
Well, that's the thing when you're on these runs, and we've all been there. you then look at the fixtures and question where's your
Where
next
the
win
next one's
coming
coming,
from.
aye.
When you've just won 15 and 22, you now look at St Johnstone's away and think that's a hard game. Then it's Hearts. We're playing them at
So that's our
Motherwell
next two
after
games,
that.
St Johnstone,
So
Hearts.
it's like you then look thinking,
Well, I'm looking at that and thinking, well, if St Johnstone will definitely get a boost from the fact that there is a new manager, and whether it's an exciting appointment or one that the fans craved, something will change within that club over the next week. Craig Levein will work with them before the next game, so there'll be some sort of upturn if they build on the result against Kilmarnock and get another 3 points. Motherwell going into a game at Hearts, is it a Tynecastle?
no, it's at Motherwell.
I think that becomes a huge game. Like, I really think it does.
I know people will only care what we say, and certainly,
They do.
certainly Motherwell fans with no 1-7, but I still think they're the best team that I've played this
Aye, in
season.
terms of
outside
football,
Old Firm.
aye.
Well, yeah, I was speaking to Kenny about it when the Rangers were obviously going through a difficult period, but when they were at Ibrox, and I think Rangers ended up beating them 2-1 that day.
No, 1-0, the one at Ibrox.
Was
I
it
was
1-0?
watching it.
Was it 1-0? Was it? They were. I don't know how I couldn't remember the result there. 'Cause I'd done the bloody telly.
They had some good chances that day.
But they did,
Aye.
They did. And Rangers obviously, weren't performing very well, and it was obviously under the previous manager, and the fans were on their back, and the kind of Ibrox was a tough environment really. But I thought Motherwell, the way they set up and the way they played and the way they handled the ball, and the threat that they had and the chances they got, they had two massive chances late on that they should have scored really. But even just like overall play, like, looked dangerous for set plays, like well organised, like the players looked like they were very much with the manager, if you know what I mean.
But they've got that blend, don't they? They can be hard to beat, they can be stubborn, but they can play as well, see in the right areas. I still really like that. See that midfield four of Payton, Slattery, Miller and Spittle. That midfield four. And see the big thing for them, the boy Mika Birif is just back. That's his first start for Motherwell. And see any time he's came off the bench before his injury, he's looked very, very good. I think he was in the fringes last time before he came on loan. So if they can keep him fit,
we all know how football works, and if there's a negative result against St Johnstone, things will be a wee bit. I've absolutely no doubt that Motherwell.
New manager bounce, Craig Levein, never easy.
What is it that's changed with Motherwell?
I don't know.
The organisation when they're attacking.
I don't know if you've seen his interview after the Ross County game when he spoke about being too loyal to players. He said through this run of form he had, he says I think I've been too loyal to certain players, and then they go into the Kilmarnock game, they make 4 changes. I think Stephen O'Donnell came out, Mugabe came out, Lennon Miller came out. I'm not sure if there was Theo Bair, I think was the other one. So then that tells me in that run of games, has there just been players underperforming, they stuck with him because of that run? But then he makes the changes and they lose again. Yeah. But Kelly's a difficult place to go for anyone, especially at Rugby Park and the way they've played this year. So I think they'll be fine, mate. I really do.
Hard for you to answer because you were successful when you were managing at Kelly for the year, but do you start to get a loyalty towards certain players? Even when they are in a bad run, you feel like I need to stick with them?
No, it's hard because you try and put yourself in like negative positions to see how you react, but until you're there, it's like changing the team. It's like coming out and saying that like too loyal to players, you know what I mean? But then like they're then winning for you previous, so then you've got a different attitude. I think players need to know that as a manager, you're never too high, you're never too low. I said that to you, didn't I?
Yeah.
No too like emotional.
Never listen to that word.
That's why I bring in two trialists every week to under 10 team.
Two guys just standing in jackets,
just to keep them on their toes.
Two bears on it.
Shit, because I keep putting in the group chat, there will be changes at Christmas time.
That's incredible.
Emotional control is key, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? And I seen his interview because I like to listen to the managers obviously afterwards on a Saturday night, kind of going on social media and flicking on and seeing the managers how they speak, win, lose or draw really. And then sometimes it's quite important to like see what the reactions off the back of it. Because like Andy's saying, people didn't listen to you on Twitter can be poisonous at times, but people have an opinion, it's just the way it is. So I think if you're quite cute and clever, you can, how you present yourself, how you speak, the key messages that you give, or people listen and they have an opinion on what you say. So I think that's the same for players. What detail you're giving them and how you potentially react off the back of a negative or positive. The gaffer's too high, we got beat, it's the end of the world, do you know what I mean? Or he's digging out the players, he's saying this, he's saying that. So I think it's more important what you say than people would think, if you know what I mean. But I was lucky. Listen, I say that when I've done interviews off the back of it, listen, anyone can speak when you go in and win. Anyone can speak. It's the disappointment and negativity, body language, and players are no happy and they're having a wee bit of a rackus after the game and he's not doing this, he's not doing that. And how do you control that? And then your message to the players off the back of it so that they actually believe you when you shut the office door or the changing room door, sorry, to go back to your office, that they're not sitting there thinking, fucking Gaffer doesn't know what he's talking about. And then it then lingers. Then it's all right when you're a full-time team, because then you get the opportunity.
See them the next day.
Well, you see them the next day, don't you? You get to have breakfast with them, you get to say to Jordy, go and have a coffee with Andy, make sure he's all right, and you get people around them, and then you get training, and you've got a whole week build up. You get to have lunch, you get to float about, you can go and you can pick your times when you go in the gym, you go in the physio room, whatever it may be. When you're a part-time coach or a manager, that I think that message is even more important. But I do think that players, listen, we all like to know what people think about us. It's the way it is. It doesn't bother me whether people like me or they don't, but I still like the people to think that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important for the modern day manager, because they do so much media, they're always under the microscope. What you say is so important.
See, also at part-time, I wanted to ask you, like, if you win on a Saturday, how much does training have a bearing on your team selection going into it? So if somebody's played well on the Saturday but they've trained shit Tuesday, Thursday, would you be inclined to take them out, or would you think?
Listen, I made a lot of people didn't realise some of the big decisions I had to make at Kelty, and it's not like driving my agenda, but like I had a fash, for instance. We played Forfar, which was a big game at the time, maybe a third into the season.
Is Nathan Austin, sorry?
Nathan Austin, big fash. And obviously he's talisman, isn't he? He's the goal scorer, he's the big earner, if you know what I mean. He's the kind of king of Kelty, really. And he had a poor game. And I had made up my decision after 20 minutes I was going to take him off. And at half time I hadn't changed my mind. And we ended up, did we win the game 1-0, or I ended up drawing? Agyeman come on after 2 minutes and scored, Alfie. And it's not like wanting a pat in the back for it, but I had to be really brave and bold, really, because the team wasn't doing what I wanted the team to do. And too many players were thinking that, in my opinion, in the squad, I'll just turn up and I'll play. And if I didn't score this week, it's all right, I'll play next week and I'll score again. That wasn't enough for me.
So you had to make a statement, really?
I had to make a stand, and that was my opportunity, really. I felt at that time calculated enough that it was early on enough in the season that I was making the right decision, and I think it created a wee bit of shockwave within the squad, that there was players, the harsh reality was like they played because they were the big hitters, you know what I mean, but they didn't play all the time, and we had to do things like at the start of the season I left Callum, Joe, Fash on the bench up at Elgin in the Premier Sports Cup on a Tuesday night. So taking the type of players up all the way up to Elgin, asking them to take half days,
not going to be raging,
and then doing a team talk in front of them, knowing that like Callum was looking right through me, but I made the right decision for the team and what I thought was right, not just for Callum. But when you get Callum on side and you then build up that relationship, and by the way, Cal was brilliant for us, the driver, everything, but I still had to make big decisions with him. I've also gave him the hairdryer at the half time at Stenhousemuir for punching my tactics board, about being humble, about being respectful, about respecting what we put on for you, the jelly babies, the water, do you know what I mean, like tight change rooms, and you get opportunities as a manager to take them. And I think if you take them with a bit of substance, as long as it's done in the right manner, I think you then earn respect of the players. And I think, without sounding disrespectful, like a wee Blackie or an Alfie, where their status within the squad, if you can you just get opportunities at times. I didn't know Callum was going to come in and punch the board, but he punched the board, and for me that's like a lack of respect to what we've done for the players. And by the way, the most respectful lad ever, but at that time emotional control for Cal was frustrated that Joe didn't pass him the ball and he didn't get in and score, and it was another opportunity, a bit like the Fash one, do you know what I mean? Lazy in my opinion in that first half, but brilliant lad. But at the same time I wanted more as a manager, so I got my opportunity at half time, said nothing at half time, you're off, and I walked straight back out.
Do you on that, do you worry that you've dropped your talisman, you're hoping for a reaction? What if he goes the other reaction and says, fuck him, I'm fucking tossing it?
But he maybe did dislike me, I don't know, but I still speak to the boys, they still call me Gaffer, which is humbling, but like at that given time, like I strongly felt I was right. Fact guaranteed would think I was wrong. And it wasn't like if we won the game or lost the game. Listen, if I lost the game, he might have turned around and went, didn't care what you're doing, Gaffer, blah, 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 taking me off. And a lot of people, you're chasing a game, you're playing against your arch rivals. At that time, us and Forfar were like the two teams that looked like we were going to get away from people. And it was a big risk. I had to put my neck on the line, really. And that responsibility, even though Geordie backed me up like 110%, the fall down guy would have been me, really. But it was in my opinion, it was like one of the brave decisions that I don't know if other people would have done it.
Did you see Dougie Imrie took Big Wilson off after 24 minutes on Friday night?
Seen that. 2-0 down after
27
minutes.
He's actually hooked the best fighter in the fucking full club. you'd be taking off a wee guy, you know, you can batter in it. Big Wilson be waiting for him at half time with the tap off, mate. Did you know see his reaction?
Was he raging?
Oh my god, you see him?
No, I didn't see the reaction. I seen him come off
straight into the fucking dressing room.
They're struggling a bit more than that.
They're struggling now.
See, to be fair though, you look at Morton, like, they're putting like 4 players on the bench every week. Seems as if they've not got a squad.
I think he was away in Romania where he's a great lad. He was saying that like it's tough, like I think he does a lot at the club as well. Do you know what I mean? Like recruitment, and he does all himself. They've not got like
fundraisers and stuff like that. And
is Andy Millen still helping?
Fundraisers and stuff like that lately, aren't they?
That's probably why he took off Big Wilson, because Andy Millen would just be waiting for him.
He'd take him, wouldn't he? Talking of you managing players, how would you manage Gaz O'Connor, who's been on open goal recently?
I think Gaz is unmanageable. I love him to bits. I watched obviously the Wings thing. I didn't understand half of what him and Deeks were saying right enough, but I did watch it and enjoy it.
Is that what they two were like? Constantly back in the day?
No, the bit that annoys me about Gaz and Deeks is people think that because of what they were like off the field, they were like bad trainers or they were bad lads. They're great lads, brilliant trainers, both really talented. Different, obviously. Do you know what I mean? Gaz a big powerhouse, but like brilliant lads, like great teammates.
Would they make you laugh though?
They made you laugh. You had to be on your toes with they pair kicking about Riordan and O'Connor, but just great lads. And I still speak to Gaz all the time. Obviously, like just social media messages, etc. And obviously, I used to play when I had the 15s at Rangers. Josh was an under 15 at the time, so I used to see him at the sidelines, and you know what he's like. He's just such a lovable big guy, but to manage him, I think Tony Mowbray had sleepless nights with the pair of them.
Would Gaz have a go back at managers?
Oh, aye. I still remember Gary Caldwell coming in one half time and Deeks going, the defence is shite, and Caldwell then having a go back at him. It was like
defence is shite.
Childish stuff at times, and then Caldwell have a go back. He's never put the ball in the net, and big guys, we talking about, because that was his wee mate. He used to stick up for him. It was like Bill and Benny. How are you saying? But just brilliant, like.
You had some team back then,
brilliant.
By the way, that takes some stopping, like. When you think about it, at 24, 25, when you think...
Because we're all young age as well.
Minus the goalie, to sign a good goalie.
Who was the goalie?
Danny Anderson was probably the most consistent. Nick Colgan was the goalie when I was first breaking through, but he was a big earner, so he was one of the ones that were obviously moving away. And then we had Zibby Milkowski for a wee while, which wasn't particularly
He was honking Milkowski.
And then Danny Anderson come, he was more consistent, big Dan, Swedish boy, great lad. Kind of like one of the father figures in the changing room for us young lads, if you know what I mean. Probably couldn't handle us every day. And then you would think of the team, like Ian Murray, Scotland International, Gary Caldwell, Scotland International, David Murphy, if he wasn't English, probably would have been a great player.
Left back.
Myself, Scotty, Boozlin, Riordan, O'Connor, Fletcher. And that's like leaving people out that were like talismans within the club, and Ivan Sproul, etc. Do you know what I mean? That were like to sign him for Irish.
What I can know part of that?
Whitey right back.
Aye.
Whitey right back. Ian Murray, Gary Caldwell, David Murphy.
Amazing. How many times did Mowbray do that over Milkowski?
Hopefully never done it too many times at me. But
no. So outside of you, who did you look at that whole squad and think he's going to be top?
Boozlin.
I always thought Fletch was the best
So did I.
out of our young crew. And I don't know if it's just because Fletch was slightly younger than us, and I always had the soft spot for people like Andy, that like even when I was quite young myself, I had like the soft spot for the younger players and try and help them, because I had an upbringing that I've spoke to you before, like about Coventry, where like no the bullying and that, but like just senior players being harder, older players, older ranking players being harder on the young ones. And I thought it should be the opposite.
Were you at Coventry?
I was at Coventry when I was a kid before I went to Hibs.
What year was that?
So when I was 15, so what, 24 years ago, 14, 15.
Are you there, Kev?
So 24 years
99.
ago. What's that, 99? 99, well, that's miles away.
Must have been
98.
98?
99.
Is that where you started Coventry?
Aye.
So you've been there like
Gordon was the manager.
Gavin Strachan?
Aye, Gav was there, Craig was
Do you
there.
have his laptop?
Did you must have played against us then.
But I didn't play, I was just a youth team player though, eh? Like I was
were you like a 14, 15 year old youth team?
I did eventually go full time because I was on October birthday. I went full time obviously in the June or the July or whatever it was. But I only lasted until like November type time. Leading into the winter I'd terminate my contract.
Boozlin was a good player, wasn't he?
I played with Boozy Kelly.
I felt Fletch was like I felt Fletch was just like one of the players that like he could do everything.
Everything, mate.
Everything, do you know what I mean? Like he could link it, he could play. There was a time we played against Kilmarnock at Easter Road, and he actually played left midfield, which was probably alien for him, but he just kept on coming in a lovely wee space for me, and he wasn't one that would receive it and travel, if you know what I mean, but I just think he could do everything, Fletch. Brilliant lad. Him and
Great guy.
Jinky. Loved him to bits. Great lad.
Jinky must have the world record for step overs when they near him, mate.
Yeah, I've never seen it. In training,
Tricky, isn't it?
I've never seen as like an individual be as dominant in training and as talented within the group. He could do everything. Obviously, physically, you could get on top of him and kind of bash him around. That's the only way you could get the ball from. But
He could play, mate.
he could play like, do you know what I mean? Like brilliant pitcher. Probably just maybe a wee bit of athleticism and being able to kind of go like, what was he? If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Wasn't a centre midfield player. Wasn't really a wide player, but a unique talent. Like, but they pair together when they used to have they both had the sovereign kind of, you know, like the knuckle duster rings. I think Jinky had Jinky and Fletch had Fletch.
They were thick as
And they were
thieves,
thick as thieves, aye. I still remember them at like 16, 17, like trying to help to get the kit, and they're like, no.
No, did it? Love that.
Still take doing it.
I quite liked it,
I'd
if you know what I mean, just because they had that boisterous
Swagger.
banter and a wee bit of swagger, but
Was Zamama at
Zuma was
Oh,
at
he was a good
Middlesbrough and at
player.
Hibs.
so you were at Hibs as well?
And Benji, aye.
He
What was
a
it
good
like
player.
at Hibs?
Just talented, a bit like wee Jinky, to be fair, that kind of like, do you know what I mean, like pluck it out the
I found
sky.
him so frustrating at Middlesbrough.
He used to do loads of chops, didn't he?
He was just never pass the ball.
The boys never took to him at
No,
Middlesbrough, did they?
he just never passed the ball.
Scotty was hard on Benji and Zamama, like, because obviously if he maybe played 5-a-sides or whatever, they wouldn't do any tracky back here or much running about unless they had the ball, and if the team obviously then starts getting beat, he used to get a bit frustrated with them. But both talented boys, same again, different. Zuma, the ultimate professional when it come to eating, and he's a wee bull, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He's stocky boy, and then Benji was the total opposite.
He looked like a stoner.
He's gone for
Benji,
pre-match.
He was smoking green every
Greg
night.
Stewart, wasn't it?
Greg Stewart.
We'd meet halfway for a pre-match.
Where did Gaz went to Moscow for Hibs, didn't he?
Aye.
Did he have any big time shouts just before he was leaving? The one he says to Fletch, come and
he
sit
used
next
to-
to £1 million players. Incredible,
I
wasn't
used to love that. I still remember sitting next to him in the changing room one time, and it was approaching payday, and I was getting a bag of chips and a bottle of pop, but I was still borrowing money off my mum. He was like, another 10 grand this month, wee man. I was like, 10 grand? I was like,
Probably
I need to go speak to the chairman, man. Whatever it was, I can't remember the figure, but I'm like, I don't even think I was getting 10% of that. I'm
10 grand this month, that's incredible. I love that shit.
I need to go and speak to Rod Petey and ask for more money.
What a hero.
Guys, man.
He is genuinely one of the best guys, man.
Oh,
Mate,
he's
he
got
will
a
not
heart
leave me
of
alone.
gold.
Stop texting me all the time, man.
He's got a heart of gold.
Harry
He has.
Diamond.
I love to see him doing well with his coaching. Right, last wee bit, English football's fucking gone.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen this Garnacho thing. Davies
seen
talked
it.
to film at half time.
I
But
seen it.
also there was a dog at a game yesterday.
Aye, Luton.
What the fuck? What? It's not a fucking zoo. It's a game of football,
There was
man.
a dug at what?
There was a dog sitting in a seat at the game.
What?
I was fucking shaking hands with the fans and everything.
You're joking.
I'm no joking.
Tell you what I will say, which again I say this all the time about the atmospheres in England and the fans over there. See how many Man U fans were in the home end at the first game?
Did you see
See the
did you
reaction
when
behind
they
the goal
scored?
when Man U
They
scored?
scored and about 15
Mate, half the
people
Fulham
stood
ends
up.
like that.
Jumping about.
Mate, it must have been
It's
easy, 2,000
embarrassing,
3,000.
isn't it?
See how that guy obviously took his dog? Would you ever try and get your horse?
Going to fucking get him tonight, right? They're going to gift my face onto that guy with the horse. That's what's going to happen.
That's a Photoshop. That's an AI Photoshop. That.
You ever get teammates that was always after somebody's top?
Aye.
Nah,
What I can think of.
not really. No.
Gene Whitehead
We can't be
liked it.
Devon obviously got the messy one, didn't he? How did he never played?
How did he go about that? How did he get messages? Is he
Well, he didn't play, did he?
Boyley got it.
Who?
Thought Boyley got Messi's top.
No, it was we Cammy Devlin. There was a video on them on Twitter. He got Grealish when they played England.
Oh, was it Grealish?
Aye.
But I think we Cammy just basically says that like he noticed that none of the players had where to get it, and Messi's came back into the tunnel still wearing the strip, so he was standing at the tunnel time and he was like, "Oh, can I get your strip?" I'd have done the same, mate.
How's nobody asked him on the pitch, mate?
I know.
That's all I'd be doing the full game.
Aye, last 10 minutes just.
Sasha Papac got it when we played them Champions League.
Barca.
Aye, Papac.
See, I'd have been asked them early doors in that game.
Strips never really excited me, to be honest.
I've never really done it either.
No, I didn't do it. I used to get nervous asking. I only ever wanted to do, like, if I played against somebody Scottish in English Premiership, I was like, but they were all shite, like Christian Daly's top for West Ham.
I remember
get
my
asked
first
for that.
game at Middlesbrough. I don't know who, Ipswich it was. I cannot remember who asked for my strip. But somebody asked for it. They beat us 3-1 first game of the season. And we Scott McDonald scored to put us 1-0 up, got beat 3-1, walking off raging. And somebody asked for my strip, so I obviously just gave them it. And I had like a red Under Armour on, I'm sure, underneath it, or a white one or whatever. And I didn't think they gave me their strip. And I've obviously walked in the tunnel. I got charged for it.
What, they charged you the kit?
They charged me for the strip. It was like 70 odd quid to have to give somebody your stripper. And I was like, fuck, I'm not giving my stripper away again.
48 games in there as well, imagine doing that.
What, came at your wage?
Aye. I remember Laney, who obviously was my best
hero,
mate. My best mate down there, Laney, she was the kit lady. I still speak to her now, Laney. I talk my messages all the time. And I spent too much time in the kit room really because I was injured. She used to make us coffees. Actually used to have a coffee ready for us, didn't she? Or our favourites as soon as you come up off the training field. Freezing, cold. She'd have a coffee waiting for us. They just sit and couple biscuits or whatever. Brilliant she was. Darky and Laney, they were the kit people. And
wasn't it Peter Dark, was it?
Is that his name? Bob Keegan guy?
Aye, maybe. He used to be the Hartlepool kit man.
Aye.
Peter Dark.
Peter Dark.
His name, aye.
And he said to me, listen, next time you get your stipple, he's like, just go into the tunnel and get away, and then they'll not have the people obviously upstairs looking to say that Thomson gave his strip away. I was like, it was like 70 odd quid, 77 quid. But
No, you didn't get a discount. You usually get a £20 discount in the shop.
I was shop and buy you myself and put Thomson on it.
Did you play with, I'm saying never swap strips, right, Kane, people that don't play. Did you play when we played Chelsea at Riverside?
No.
I think Torres scored a hat-trick, it was 3-0.
Did you get it?
No.
That was in the FA Cup, eh?
I was in the FA Cup, I was on the bench. And when you were on the bench, you used to warm up down the left-hand side, but it must be the only stadium in the world where the away players and the home players all warm up at the same side.
Right.
Frank Lampard came warming up next to me, and
Maybe he said
so I was like, fuck this. I was like, Frank, can I get your strip after the jersey, after the game? Honestly, everyone thinks I'm lying when I say this. Came down to the tunnel, gave me the jersey. I've walked into the changing room. Kitman comes out and he's like, oh, Frank Lampard, what's he talking to you? I went outside. He's like, give the jersey and I'll sign it for you, because you could tell I was dead excitable talking to him. And he was like, oh, Scottish, aye. I was like, where are you from? I was like, off of Glasgow. He's like, oh, Rangers, Celtic. I was like, Rangers. And he's like, aye, my family, we've got big Rangers followings in the family. That's the nicest guy in the world, mate, honestly.
UEFA Cup final, didn't he?
Aye,
Lampard,
nicest guy in the world.
Did he? What, your UEFA Cup final?
Aye, UEFA Cup final.
I think he said he was like his cousin or something was a Rangers fan or something like that.
Walter Smith's agent, Steve Cutner, was Frank Lampard's agent.
And what, so did Lampard come into the dressing room?
No, he didn't come into the changing room.
But he was a bit-
My mum and dad sat right behind him in the UEFA Cup, because obviously I must have the complimentary ticket. It was like, you know what it's like when you get fancy complimentary tickets, it's like lounges and that, and then you get the ones that are in the skies. My mum and dad used them, and my mum obviously doesn't know that many football players, but she knew who Frank Lampard was, so dad had obviously must have pointed to it.
So I asked for him and I didn't play.
I remember when
Fuck it, you've got to do that, mate.
I remember when I was like a young player at Sunderland, and Don Hutchinson was in the first team, and Lampard would have been at West Ham, and they were all raving about him, and Hutch used to say, that wee fat the midfielder West Ham, he'll never fucking get here.
Done alright, didn't he?
He's done alright.
That video I read that with the supporters, incredible. I shall give you goosebumps. So did you get any good tops?
No loads.
Declan,
I got Good Johnson's the Barcelona one.
Oh, what a player
I played
Good
against
Johnson
him.
was.
It's funny as well, because I thought he'd stitched me up. I asked him, I actually finished the game next to Ronaldinho, but Charlie got his that night.
Same teeth, Philip, that's why. Switch teeth and tops. Same dentist, done it.
Good Johnson played. That's terrible. Good Johnson played central that night, so I actually went towards him, and he said to me in the tunnel, obviously with his body, like maybe being a wee bit chunky for the camera.
Was standing watching.
John Collins was watching, aye. And I thought, he stitched me up, so I just went and shook hands and that, and he was waiting for me in the tunnel to give me the strap, which I didn't think he obviously would. But I got Roy Keane's one when he was at Celtic, and I'm pretty sure, or I'm pretty positive, it's the only time Roy Keane played in the black Celtic strip.
Mate, did he not rave about you actually when he was at Celtic or when he left?
I got a nice mention in his book, aye.
That's his book?
No, the only regret I've got is no getting it signed.
What did he say in his book?
He just said he come up the road and he just expected to only have to play against Rangers.
I was going to say, you couldn't have been at Rangers at the time.
I was at Hibs still when we played them at Easter Road, and I'd been in the 21 squad still, floating in between the first team squad and the 21s, and I'd said to Sean, listen, Roy's one of my heroes, like he's my standout really. You couldn't ask if I could get his strap. We play in a couple of weeks' time. He's like, honestly, Tom, he's like top man. He's like, just ask him. And I was like, he has this fearsome reputation that I'm thinking he just tossed me off or whatever. So we played at Easter Road and he was brilliant. And he does himself a disservice as probably like the humility that he's got, if you know what I mean. Said that he struggled, and the young boys, me being obviously one of them, were excellent that day. He didn't realise how good we were, etc, etc. And after the game, I'd said to Sean, did you mention it to him? He's like, no. He's like, quick, go and grab him. So I obviously chased him down the tunnel and just said, Roy, I couldn't get your strip, could you? So Annie Bonnie took his top, he ripped to the bone. He just like slapped me in the back of the head. He's like, well played. I didn't obviously want to give him mine. I'm like, he fucking doesn't want Thomson number 8 strip. But just brilliant. It's my all the strips I've got, all the players I played against, he's the one.
That's brilliant, man. So,
Class,
you know, tempted to ask him on the pitch. See, if you'd asked him on the pitch, he'd have thought you were a fan of it.
I would never have asked him on the pitch. I wasn't even thinking about strips. I was thinking about it prior, but in the game, I was quite happy not to get it. It was blood and thunder. But as soon as the final whistle went, and I'd never ever in my whole career wanted a strip, but I wanted his.
See the book. Did anyone tell you? Did you know you were?
Jazza told me.
What? Just as he was reading it, he's just texting.
Jazza had it on his Kindle and he was reading it and he's like, "What about this man?" He's like, "You should never bother about any stick off of anyone to get like a mention off of him."
So who were you at the time when the book came out?
I think I might have been.
Hibs?
No, I think I might have been down the road. But I think maybe Jazza maybe read it when I come back up the road. Maybe whether I was at Hibs or whether I was at Dundee or whatever, tail end of my career. I don't know. I think it might be his second book or maybe his first one. I don't know. But it's a nice. He mentions obviously a couple of young players that were there at the time that were excellent, and didn't realise that it would be so good. And then he name checks me, which is quite special.
It's class, isn't it?
But what a way to end it. And just like, how was Walter Smith with people changing strips? Did he not mind it? Or
Nah, he didn't bother.
Strachan wouldn't like that, would he?
He didn't bother Walter, to be honest. I can't think Boydie was a big strip man. He liked the boys' strips as well. I think I was done a 5 stars event with him on Friday night and I said every fucker in Kilmarnock must have a Rangers strip. He just used to steal the boys' strips all the time. But he's I didn't think there was Charlie, to be fair, obviously getting Ronaldinho's and that. The boys were. Obviously Ronaldinho was a superstar at the time, wasn't he? He was like, you think of Messi where Messi's gone, but Ronaldinho in that Barcelona team, he was the one. But I never, apart from Roy, which I probably let myself down a wee bit, like a kind of fanboy chasing him about.
Where is it now?
I'm in my games room still. I'm positive, maybe somebody will be able to tell me if I'm no, but I'm positive it's the only time, it was at Easter Road, I'm sure it's the only time he wore the black Celtic strip for Celtic when he come up the road, and I think he only played 11 or 12 times to get his medal. I'm sure there's a story about him going to the toilet under Gordon.
When he was sub, that's right.
When he went to put him on and he wasn't there, which is not like Roy Keane, to be fair. And I think he had to get his appearances up because there was one stage where you used to have to play 10, 12 games or whatever to get your medal, wasn't it? And he was trying to obviously clock him up a wee bit. And he had nipped to the toilet, I think, late on in the game and he was going to put him on. I'm sure it's the only time he wore the black slip for Celtic, so it's pretty special to me.
Brilliant, what a way to finish, Kev.
Great, brilliant.
Give him a job, please.